Chapter 90. Another encounter with Ju Ri. 5. Elder Chiu, you will be staying in this Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. The entire 5th floor is for your academy. Elder Yu pointed at a 6-story luxurious restaurant. The Elegance Lagoon Pavilion was one of the best inns in Lunar Capital, with both meals and lodging. The 1st and 2nd floors were for the restaurant, and the 3rd to 6th floors were for lodging. The entire inn was said to be the most luxurious in terms of exterior and interior decoration. Moreover, Elegance Lagoon Pavilion was owned by the Hua family. Thank you for your effort in making the arrangements, Elder Yu, Elder Chiu said gratefully. Everyone then entered the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. Elder Chiu, how much does it cost to stay here for a day? A student couldn't help asking curiously after they reached the 5th floor of the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. This place was really too luxurious. It's enough for ordinary families to live for several years. We stay here for free, but we have to pay for our meals ourselves, Elder Chiu explained. Even though he had expected that the accommodations provided by the Lunar Shadow Academy wouldn't be too shabby, he didn't expect their lodging to be the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. Their academy was already considered very rich, but it would be a little unbearable to eat here continuously for a month. Moreover, he didn't bring that much money. What should I do? We can't stay here but eat outside, right? The entire Heavenly Phoenix Academy would be disgraced. Feng De, arrange rooms for them, Leng Ruoxue ordered. Yes, Mississippi. Come with me, Feng De said to everyone. Elder Chiu, what's the matter? Leng Ruoxue couldn't help asking when she saw Elder Chiu struggling. I'm afraid we don't have enough money, Elder Chiu said awkwardly. The Lunar Shadow Academy is really too despicable. They actually arranged for us to stay here. In fact, no matter which academy was the host, they would generally not arrange for the major academies to stay in such top-notch lodging. It was obvious that the Lunar Shadow Academy was up to no good and wanted to see the Heavenly Phoenix Academy become a joke. Elder Chiu, is this worth you struggling over? We aren't the only academy staying here. If something like this happens to us, it will happen to the other academies as well. Leng Ruoxue smiled and comforted him. Yes, in addition to our academy, there are also the Rising Dragon Academy, Land Shine Academy, and Flying Bird Academy. Except for the Rising Dragon Academy, it's impossible for the other 2 academies to have meals here every day. Feng Moran also comforted him. He had already found out that a total of 4 academies were staying here when he arrived. How can those academies compare to ours? Our academy is one of the 3 major academies on the Ling Feng continent. It would be very embarrassing if we stayed here and went out to eat, Elder Chiu said. The Heavenly Phoenix Academy couldn't lose its dignity. Old man, why do you care so much about dignity? It doesn't matter where we eat, Leng Qingtian said. This isn't because of my own dignity. This is the dignity of the academy, Elder Chiu emphasized. Grandpa, Elder Chiu, stop arguing. I'll pay, Leng Ruoxue said impatiently. These 2 old men had been bickering all along the way. You have money? Elder Chiu asked in surprise. Where did you get the money? Leng Qingtian asked. He knew that his granddaughter had a lot of good things, but she didn't seem to have much money. I sold some spirit crystals before we set off, Leng Ruoxue explained. Before they started this journey, she had specially asked Feng De to sell a portion of the spirit crystals they had obtained in the illusionary forest for emergencies. Did you sell that earth python? Leng Qingtian asked anxiously. That couldn't be sold because it couldn't even be bought with money. No. That's good. Ruoxue, are you sure we can eat here for a month without any problems? Elder Chiu asked uncertainly. They would have to stay in Lunar Capital for at least a month if they entered the top 3. Elder Chiu, a month is nothing. We can even stay for a year, Feng De interrupted after arranging the rooms. Then I can rest assured, Elder Chiu said. I didn't expect Ruoxue to be a wealthy lady. Don't worry. Let's hurry to our rooms to freshen up and then try the dishes of this Elegance Lagoon Pavilion later, Leng Ruoxue suggested. Okay. Everyone was very interested in this idea. After going to her room, Leng Ruoxue directly entered the Heaven and Earth bracelet, took a beautiful hot spring bath, and played with the little fellows before leaving. Ruoxue, you came out just in time. I was just about to call you for dinner. Elder Chiu said eagerly when she saw Leng Ruoxue come out of her room. Then let's go. Elder Chiu, do you want to eat? The innkeeper asked when he saw Elder Chiu and the others coming down the stairs. Arrange 3 private rooms for us, Elder Chiu said generously. Having money emboldened him. Yes, please wait a moment. The innkeeper quickly went to arrange it. Leng Ruoxue and the others entered the private rooms. They had just ordered and were about to eat when the door suddenly opened, and a man and a woman walked in. Who allowed you to come in? Leng Ruoxue questioned coldly. She hated being disturbed while eating. Moreover, they pushed the door open and entered without even knocking. Swear, he is Huqing, Leng Ruhan said softly. They presumably came for him. I'm sorry to bother you, Huqing said politely. Why did you come in if you knew you were interrupting? Leng Ruoxue said without giving him any face. She didn't care who he was. It was wrong to disturb her eating. Huqing smiled bitterly. No one had ever been so rude to him in his life. How can you be so ungrateful? Big Brother Qing came to see an old friend out of goodwill. How can you have this attitude? Huqing didn't say anything. Instead, it was the beautiful girl beside him who rebuked her with discontent, with jealousy in her eyes flashing for a moment. What a joke! Did I invite him? Leng Ruoxue sneered. She raised her eyes slightly and examined the man and woman in front of her. Huqing had a handsome appearance, a masculine build, and was an intermediate spiritual sovereign. Although his appearance wasn't as good as her elder brothers and the others, he was the type of man that women liked the most. As for this woman, she had an incomparably pure face and looked very innocent. But Leng Ruoxue knew that this woman was a classic example of a two-faced person. Her appearance could make all men want to protect and cherish her, and she was usually the most difficult kind of woman to deal with. Moreover, this woman was the most beautiful woman she had seen to date. Chapter 91. You've already got me. Senior Brother Leng, this senior sister from your academy is really rude. We came to see you out of goodwill, but what's with her attitude? The beautiful Shui Xinren's eyes flashed. She turned her gaze and complained aggrievedly, with tears vaguely welling up in her eyes. She is my younger sister, Leng Ruhan said coldly. He was not Huqing and would not fall for Shui Xinren's tricks. So she's that simpleton. Shui Xinran pretended to be surprised. Xinran? Huqing glared at her. I'm sorry, Senior Brother Leng. I didn't do it on purpose, Shui Xinran said with a guilty expression. Can you go out now? We're having a meal. Leng Ruoxue coldly chased them away. Sorry for disturbing you, Huqing said helplessly as he left with Shui Xinran. Swear. Huqing has probably never been treated this way before. Leng Ruhan chuckled. Swear, that was the genius young master of the Hua family. Probably no woman has treated him like this before. Feng Moran also teased. So what if he's the young master of the Hua family? This young lady doesn't allow anyone to disturb me when I'm eating, not even the patriarch of the Hua family, Leng Ruoxue said nonchalantly. Ruoxue, how domineering. But this is the Hua family's territory after all, so we have to give the master some face. Elder Chiu tried to mediate. As the host, he should know better than to interrupt the guests' meals casually, right? Leng Ruoxue said. Even though she hated uninvited guests, she usually wouldn't be as rude as she was just now. She mainly hated them for barging in without even knocking on the door. At this moment, there was a knock on the door, and the innkeeper entered, followed by 2 young servants, each carrying a plate of food. Esteemed guests, this is an apology from our young master, the shopkeeper said with a smile. There's no need for this. Innkeeper, remember that no one is allowed to disturb us during meals from now on, Leng Ruoxue warned. Yes, I understand. The innkeeper wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. Heavens! Why is this young lady so imposing? Innkeeper, we don't need much here. You don't have to wait on us, Leng Qingtian said. How could they enjoy themselves with outsiders standing by the side? All right, please enjoy yourselves. The innkeeper left tactfully. After dinner, Elder Chiu said he was going to look for Tsong Min while the others returned to their rooms to rest. But Yichen followed Shuer to her room. Aren't you tired? Lung Ruoxue looked curiously at the freak who followed her. She hadn't slept well recently, so she just wanted to have a good night's sleep. I want to chat with you. Yi Chen's dazzling black eyes were watery, trying to look as pitiful as possible. Okay, let's chat then. He looks too pitiful. Shuer Huaqing ranks second on the most beautiful men rankings. He's the dream lover of all women. Yi Chen suddenly said after they chatted for a while. So what? Do I have to like him like other women? Lung Ruoxue asked. A man like Huaqing would definitely prioritize his family's interests. This kind of man was not her type. If someone wanted to be her man, he had to put her first. You're not allowed to like him. You've already got me. Yi Chen said seriously. If you want to become my man, it will depend on your performance. Lung Ruoxue said. She could ignore a man's identity and status, but it was not so easy to be her man. I will let you know that only I am most suitable for you, Yi Chen said solemnly. Even though he had always considered himself Shuer's fiancé and liked to call her his wife when there were many people around, he had never said these words in such a serious manner. Alright, I'll wait and see. As soon as she saw Yi Chen off, Elder Qiu came. Ruoxue, we can't find Song Min, Elder Qiu, who had gone out to look for Song Min, said directly as soon as he entered Ruoxue's room. The competition would begin the day after tomorrow, but Song Min's whereabouts were unknown, which couldn't help making him a little worried. Elder Qiu, calm down. The competition will begin 2 days later. There's still time, Lung Ruoxue consoled. But I'll look for her tomorrow, Elder Qiu said. Song Min was going to participate in the artificer competition, so they really couldn't do without her. After seeing Elder Qiu off, Lung Ruoxue washed up and then went to bed. The streets of Lunar Capital were bustling with people. Grandpa, where are we going? Her grandfather dragged her, her brother, and Yi Chen out early in the morning. Let's go to the bazaar. I heard from the innkeeper that there's a bazaar today, Lung Qingtian said. Why is Grandpa interested in the bazaar? No wonder there are so many people on the streets today. I heard that there will be many specialties from the Southern Dusk Empire, Lung Qingtian said yearningly. When they arrived at the bazaar, Lung Ruoxue found that there were a lot of snacks being sold. So Grandpa is here for these snacks. With this thought, she couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. Shuer, try this. It's sour and sweet and very delicious. It's a specialty of Southern Dusk. Lung Qingtan handed Lung Ruoxue a red fruit pierced on a thin wooden stick. Isn't this candied hawthorn? She didn't expect this thing to appear in the Southern Dusk Empire. Lung Ruoxue took a bite. It tastes pretty good. The 4 of them shopped and ate for most of the day before returning to the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion with some lingering feelings. What's the matter? After they returned, Lung Ruoxue and the others went directly to the conference room prepared for them in the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. As they entered, they felt that the atmosphere was a little off as soon. Miss Song Min has been found, Feng De said softly. Found? Lung Ruoxue looked at Feng De doubtfully. Why is Elder Qiu's face so ugly then? Song Min refuses to come back to participate in the competition unless Elder Qiu fulfills her condition, Feng De explained. He knew very well what had happened because he found Song Min together with Elder Qiu. What condition? She requested Miss to withdraw from the competition, or else she would refuse to participate, Feng De said. That woman is really overestimating herself. How dare she use this to threaten us? Chapter 92, You've already got me, too, Elder Qiu. Song Min wants to withdraw from the competition? Lung Ruoxue walked directly to Elder Qiu after hearing what Feng De said. Yes. Let her withdraw then. Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. Ruoxue, if she doesn't participate, we have no one else for the artificer competition, Elder Qiu said gloomily. If Song Min didn't participate in the artificer competition, it would affect their final total score. But he could never agree to her condition. There's no one else? I'll go then. Lung Ruoxue said. She didn't want to be in the limelight, but there were always people who forced her into it. Can't they let me keep a low profile? You? Elder Qiu's eyes widened as he looked at Lung Ruoxue in disbelief. Does this girl know how to refine artifacts? Can't I? Lung Ruoxue stared at Elder Qiu unblinkingly. Yes. Ruoxue, Do you really know how to refine artifacts? Elder Chiu asked worriedly. A little, Lung Ruoxue said. She had only learned a little of her master's art of artificing, but it was enough to deal with such a competition. Lung Ruoxue's words made Lung Qingtian and the others speechless. If you only know a little, then those noble supreme artificers would have no jobs. It's good that you know a little. It's better than having no one participate. Elder Chiu said with relief, the worry from before vanishing. By the way, Ruoxue, I have to go to the Lunar Shadow Academy to draw lots and get our number later. But Elder Chiu, what's the schedule for the competition the day after tomorrow? Lung Ruoxue asked. The first 3 days of the competition is called the Battle Royale, but it has nothing to do with our academy, Elder Chiu explained. What kind of Battle Royale? Lung Ruoxue asked. Swear, let me explain it to you. Lung Ruhan said. There are more than 150 major and minor academies on the Ling Feng continent. Each academy will send 30 spiritualists, which means there are thousands of competitors. Since there are too many people, it's impossible to engage in one-on-one battles, so the first 3 days will use the Battle Royale method to carry out the group stage. In the first Battle Royale, only the top 50 academies can advance to the next round of the competition. And after the 3-day Battle Royale, only 20 academies can remain to participate in the official competition. Therefore, the competition is very intense, Lung Ruhan explained. As the first runner-up last time, our academy doesn't need to participate in the group stage, Lung Ruhan added. Does that mean we have nothing to do for the first 3 days? Lung Ruoxue asked. How can we have nothing to do? We have to go and watch the battles. What if a dark horse appears? Elder Chiu said. You had to know thyself and thy enemy. Swear, the Battle Royale is very intense and interesting, Lung Ruhan said. Then let's check it out tomorrow. Lung Ruoxue said, seeing the interest from the others. Early the next day, they arrived at the competition venue of the Lunar Shadow Academy. Lung Ruoxue was too embarrassed to stay behind to nap after seeing the excited crowd, but she felt a little sleepy sitting in the seats that the Lunar Shadow Academy had arranged for them. Call me when the match begins. Lung Ruoxue closed her eyes after speaking. Okay, Lung Ruhan said lovingly. Swear, the group stage has begun, Yichen said softly. Where's Big Brother? Lung Ruoxue slowly opened her beautiful eyes and looked around, but she didn't see Lung Ruhan. What Qing sent someone to invite him away, Yichen explained. What? Lung Ruoxue immediately became awake when she heard this. She was really worried about her big brother being alone with those people. Don't worry. I got Feng De to follow him. No one will dare to let your precious big brother be wronged. Yichen felt a little sour in his heart. When will Shuer care so much about me? Shuer is awake? Lung Ruhan returned just as he spoke. Big brother, are you okay? Lung Ruoxue asked worriedly. I'm fine, Lung Ruhan said with some amusement. Shuer is just too worried about me. The first round of the Battle Royale was divided into 5 groups. Each group had 30 academies, and only the top 10 would advance. That was to say, on the first day, 60 academies would not have the chance to enter the next round of the Battle Royale and would stop here in the academy competition. The time limit for each group round was 3 hours. After 3 hours, the academies would be scored and ranked according to the number of people on the field. There are many nobles from the Southern Dusk Empire here today, and the imperial family has sent their representatives, Lung Qingtian said as he casually glanced at the people sitting in the VIP seats. It might only be the group stage, but the competition is actually very intense. Moreover, many of the families here hope to choose some talents from among them for their own use, Elder Chiu explained. The group stage of the academy competition was not open to ordinary people. Even big families required an invitation if they wanted to watch them. Otherwise, they would not be able to enter at all. What if there's no one on the stage at the end of the 3 hours? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. That's impossible. Basically, during the first 2.5 hours of the Battle Royale, everyone will be observing and not attacking. The real competition will only begin in the last half hour, Lung Ruhan explained. Then why are we all sitting here? Why don't we just come for the last half hour? Lung Ruoxue said impatiently while looking at the team standing still on the stage. Are they just going to stare at each other like this? Lass, Do you think those people are here to watch the battle? Lung Qingtian shook his head helplessly. Of course, she wouldn't think that they had nothing to do other than watch the battle. But sitting here was really boring. Moreover, Lung Ruoxue found that she seemed to be becoming more and more carefree now. It could be said that this was her nature. Shuer, do you see the man in the crimson outfit? Lung Ruhan pointed at the conspicuous man in crimson on the stage. Yes, is there a problem with him? Shuer, his name is Di Fei. He's the top expert of the Flying Bird Academy. He is very strong, and he came in fourth in the last individual competition, Lung Ruhan explained. Peak spiritual monarch, Lung Ruoxue said while looking at Di Fei carefully. 3 years ago, he was only an elementary spiritual monarch. He is fifth on the genius rankings, Lung Ruhan said. Chapter 93, You've Already Got Me, 3. The man in blue sitting over at the Lunar Shadow Academy is Pang Sin, the top genius of the Lunar Shadow Academy. He was third in the last individual competition, and he is third on the genius rankings. He also has a twin brother named Pang Lin, who ranks 9th on the genius rankings, and he was 8th in the previous individual competition. As for the Rising Dragon Academy, in addition to Huqing, Yi Xiao is also very difficult to deal with. He ranks 4th on the genius rankings and obtained 5th in the previous individual competition, Lung Ruhan continued to introduce. They would all be Shuer's biggest opponents. Big brother, only Huqing is my match among these people, Lung Ruoxue said confidently. Yes, Huqing is now an intermediate spiritual sovereign. Shuer, you have to be careful. Lung Ruhan reminded her. As the young master of the Hua family, Huqing definitely had more tricks up his sleeves than everyone had seen. Big brother, don't worry. You'll be careful. After waiting for more than 2 hours, the people on the battlefield finally began to move. Bang, bang, bang. People were constantly being kicked out of the arena. As time passed, the chaotic battle royale on the stage became more and more intense. More and more people were thrown out of the arena, and those who remained were even more careful. With the blow of a whistle, everyone in the arena stopped at the same time. After the referee counted the number of people on stage, he immediately arranged for the second group to go on stage. The first day of the competition was over after 3 groups finished competing. Lung Ruoxue and the others returned to the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion and had an early rest after dinner. On the second day of the Battle Royale, there were only 2 groups competing. Just like yesterday, the final half hour was the real battle. After the 5 rounds were over, the 50 academies that advanced to the next round of the Battle Royale were out. The third day of the competition was the last day of the Academy Battle Royale, and also the most important day. After drawing lots, the 50 academies were divided into 2 groups. After the 2 rounds were over, another 30 academies were eliminated. In addition to the champion, second place, and third place of the last academy competition, a total of 23 academies qualified to participate in the following competition. After the Battle Royale ended, there would be a 2-day break before the other competitions. On the 5th floor of the Elegant Lagoon Pavilion, in the guest room of the Heavenly Phoenix Academy. Elder Chiu, tell us the rules of the competition, Lung Ruoxue said. Tomorrow was the true academy competition. Okay, the academy competition will begin with the spiritualist competition. First, it will be the preliminaries for the team competition. The 30 spiritualists of each academy will split up into 5 teams, and then the teams will draw lots and be divided into 5 groups to carry out the preliminaries. There will be 5 stages for the preliminaries at the same time, and the winners will enter the second round of the preliminaries. Tomorrow is the first round, and there will be 3 groups competing. 2 teams from our academy will participate. Lin Yuan and Mu Li, you 2 are the leaders. You have to work hard tomorrow. We will go and cheer for you too, Elder Chiu said. Elder Chiu, don't worry. We will definitely advance, Lin Yuan promised confidently. That's good. To be honest, he didn't know much about the true strength of these students. They all like to pretend to be weak to take advantage of others like Ruoxue after all. Elder Chiu, this is only the first preliminary round. What will happen in the later rounds if you're so worried? Lung Ruoxue couldn't help asking the nervous Elder Chiu. I'm not worried. I'm just afraid that they will be nervous, Elder Chiu lied. It was their first time participating in such a large-scale competition after all. Who knows who the nervous one is? Lung Ruoxue was speechless at Elder Chiu's stubbornness, but she didn't intend to expose him. There are matches tomorrow, so everyone should rest early today. Lung Ruoxue returned to her room after speaking. Early the next morning, Lung Ruoxue and the others arrived at the competition venue on time. After the host announced the rules and said a bunch of encouragement, the competition officially began. You can stick your number on your clothes now, Elder Chiu reminded them before the Heavenly Phoenix Academy's teams went on stage. Okay. Good luck. In contrast to Elder Chiu's nervousness, Lung Ruoxue was much more relaxed. She was very confident in the strength of her subordinates. It was just the preliminaries and not a big deal. I'm hungry. Let's go have something to eat. I heard the food in the Lunar Shadow Academy's dining hall is pretty good, Lung Ruoxue whispered to Yichen, who was sitting beside her. Okay, Yichen naturally had no objections to eating. The two of them stood up, left the competition venue as if no one else was here, and headed straight for the dining hall. Since everyone was watching the competition and it was not time to eat yet, there were not many people in the dining hall. After ordering their food, they found a window seat and sat down. Move aside. This is my spot. A female voice suddenly sounded in their ears. The two of them, who were eating, looked up at the woman with displeasure and then lowered their heads again to continue eating. Did you hear me? Go away. This is the spot I like. The woman was a little mad at being ignored. Scram. Yichen raised his head in displeasure and spat out a single word to express his thoughts. How dare you? Do you know who I am? The woman roared angrily. She originally had a good impression of this incomparably handsome man and even planned to let him be her man. But she didn't expect this man to ignore her existence or to act so ungentlemanly. Such a crude and uneducated man isn't worthy of me at all. I don't care who you are. Get lost. Don't disturb us while we're eating, Yichen said unhappily. Where did this fly come from? How annoying. Just you wait. This princess won't let you off. The woman glared at them fiercely and then left angrily. You guys are in big trouble. That woman is the Northern Frost Empire's most beloved little princess. A boy, who was also eating in the dining hall, came over quietly to inform them. Chapter 94. You've already got me for princess? So what? Lung Ruoxue looked up at the boy who told them the information. Why are there so many princesses in this world? I seem to meet these so-called princesses everywhere I go. The boy didn't know what to say after seeing their calm reactions. Moreover, this girl was so beautiful. He was so nervous that he didn't dare to take a second look and could only return to his seat. Lung Ruoxue and Yichen finished eating and returned to the competition venue. As soon as they returned, they received Elder Chiu's glare. Where did you two go? Elder Chiu growled. We were hungry, so we went to eat. Why you've gone too far? Elder Chiu, food is everything to people. Of course, we have to eat when we're hungry. How did we go too far? Lung Ruoxue said in disapproval. Our academy is competing, yet you guys went to eat. Isn't this too much? Elder Chiu was fuming. Elder Chiu, calm down. You're too nervous, Yichen teased. This old man is quite cute. Miss, our match is over. Can we go back now? Fengde walked over and asked. Oh, then let's go back. Just like that, Lung Ruoxue and the others ignored Elder Chiu's scowl and returned to the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. The other two groups' matches for the first round of the preliminaries were scheduled for the next day. Lung Ruoxue's, Feng Moran's, and Feng Das teams all successfully entered the second round. In addition, the teams from the Rising Dragon Academy and the Lunar Shadow Academy also entered the second round of the preliminaries without any suspense. Over the next 3 days, 2 more rounds of preliminaries were held, and finally, 10 teams advanced to the semifinals. When the list of who advanced came out, Elder Chiu was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. All 5 teams from the Heavenly Phoenix Academy had advanced, while only 3 teams from the most powerful Rising Dragon Academy and 2 teams from the Lunar Shadow Academy had advanced to the top 10. Elder Chiu, congratulations. Many elders came forward to congratulate him. "We just got lucky," Elder Chio said modestly, but he was very pleased in his heart. "Ruoshue, it's really too enjoyable this time," Elder Chio said happily. Their academy had been suppressed by the Rising Dragon Academy for many years, and it had been a long time since they were so happy. "Elder Chio, it's not the finals yet. Aren't you a little too happy too early?" Lung Ruoshue said. "This old man is a little too smug. I'm just too happy." Elder Chio said, a little embarrassed. "Let's go back." After a 2-day break, the semi-finals officially began. After drawing lots, the 10 teams were divided into 5 groups, and the winner would advance to the finals. The Heavenly Phoenix Academy was considered lucky, and its teams didn't have to face each other. However, Lin Yuan's and Huaqing's teams would be against each other. "It's okay. It's just Huaqing." "I'm not afraid of him," Lin Yuan said nonchalantly. "That's right. There's nothing to be afraid of. His reputation is just a little better than ours," Feng De added. "Elder Chio, I told you he's fine." "Don't worry," Lung Ruoshue said. At this time, the more everyone cared about Lin Yuan, the greater his pressure would be. But Elder Chio wanted to say something more but was interrupted. "Old man Chio, Lin Yuan's strength isn't as good as Huaqing. It's reasonable if he loses. It's not a big deal." Leng Qingtian said. "It was just a competition and not a battle of life and death." The teams from the Heavenly Phoenix Academy entered the stage one by one, and Lung Ruoxu's, Feng Moran's, Mulis, and Feng Das teams all won their matches. Only Lin Yuan's and Huaqing's had yet to compete. Everyone's attention was on the last 2 teams because everyone was curious whether the Heavenly Phoenix Academy could take the top 5 spots in the team competition after their outstanding performance so far. Or could the Rising Dragon Academy protect its last dignity? The match between the 2 teams was as exciting as the fight for the champion and second place. Looking at the 2 teams on the arena, everyone couldn't help but hold their breath for fear of missing any battle. "You are very strong," Huaqing couldn't help but say. He had always thought that Lung Ruhan was his greatest opponent, and he didn't expect so many geniuses to emerge from the Heavenly Phoenix Academy this year. "You are very strong too," Lin Yuan said as he wiped the blood off the corner of his mouth. He was looking forward to the battle between this man and his young lady. "Do you still want to continue fighting?" Huaqing asked. "Yes. We haven't lost yet," Lin Yuan said. Even though there was a gap in strength, they wouldn't admit defeat easily. "Come on then." Huaqing admired his will and spirit. Both of them used their unique skills, and the spiritual power on the stage dazzled everyone's eyes. The 2 of them fought for dozens of rounds, and the stage completely became their battlefield. Everyone else was just background. It was not until Lin Yuan used the last bit of his spiritual power and fainted that the match ended. This should be the most difficult battle since the start of the competition. Lin Yuan's team might have lost, but it was a glorious defeat. No one dared to look down on him. Although Huaqing's team won, it was a tragic victory. "Who asked you to work so hard? Do you want to die?" Lung Ruoshue said unpleasantly while looking at Lin Yuan, who had woken up after being carried off the stage by his teammates. "Miss, I'm sorry. I was wrong." Lin Yuan saw that Lung Ruoshue was angry and quickly admitted his mistake. He knew that he had made his young lady worry. "Eat this." Lung Ruoshue threw a pill to Lin Yuan and then ignored him. After the matches, everyone returned to their residences. On the way, Lin Yuan kept sneaking glances at Lung Ruoshue. But she didn't even look at him, completely ignoring him. After a day of rest, the finals of the team competition officially began. The finals would be a round-robin system to determine the final score. Dear guests and students, today is the last day of the team competition. The champion of the team competition will be born after today. Let us all wait and see. After the host stirred up the emotions of the audience, the day's matches began. Chapter 95. You've Already Got Me, 5. Lung Ruoxu's team was the first to go on stage today, and her last opponent was the team led by Huaqing. On the arena, Lung Ruoxue sized up the composed Huaqing. Today was the last battle of the team competition. In the previous 3 matches, Lung Ruoxiu's team had won complete victories, so she would still be the champion of the team competition even if she lost this match. But Huaqing's situation was different. In the last 3 matches, Huaqing's team had lost to Mu Lise, tied with big brother Feng's, and only won 1 victory against Feng Das. The pressure on Huaqing was tremendous, and this stunning genius probably never expected such a situation to happen. However, this was a team competition after all, and the overall strength was more important. Even if he was a genius, it was useless without good teammates. While Lung Ruhan was sizing Huaqing up, he was also sizing her up. This beautiful girl was Lung Ruhan's sister and used to be a simpleton. But after a few days of observation, he found that this girl was harder to deal with than her elder brother because he still couldn't tell what her strength was until now. Moreover, she seemed to win every battle very easily, as though she didn't use her full strength at all. "You are the strongest opponent I have ever met," Huaqing said. He was helpless against such a strong opponent because the strength of his teammates was not comparable in the team competition. But he had to compete with her in the individual competition. This seemingly weak and beautiful girl had already aroused his intense fighting spirit. Likewise, Lung Ruoxiu said lightly. She knew that the team competition wouldn't allow Huaqing to unleash his full strength. The real competition between them was the individual competition. "Let's end this quickly," Lung Ruoxiu said. Okay. He didn't want to waste time. The 2 teams got into formation and began to attack the opponents according to the pre-planned strategy. Soon, 2 people from Huaqing's team were eliminated, and then Huaqing declared their defeat. In less than 10 minutes, Huaqing announced his defeat, much to the disappointment of many people who wanted to watch a good show. They originally thought that this battle would be very interesting, but it ended so quickly. Lung Ruoxiu became famous because of her outstanding performance in the entire team competition. In the end, Lung Ruoxiu and her team won the team competition. Mu Li's team was in 2nd place, Huaqing's and Feng Moran's teams tied for 3rd place, and Feng Das' team was in 4th place. After the team competition, the academies were also ranked. Only the top 10 academies were eligible to participate in the individual competition. After the spiritualist team competition, it was the alchemist competition. The alchemist competition was divided into preliminaries, semi-final, and final. As there were only 20 or so alchemists participating in the competition was scheduled to take place over 2 days. The first day was the preliminaries, which was divided into 2 rounds. The first round would be to concoct a designated pill chosen by the judges, who would provide the raw materials for the pills. The second round was for the students to concoct the pills that they were best at, and the judges would grade the pills. The judges of the competition were professional alchemists sent by the Alchemist Association, and this competition could also be considered a competition for the Alchemist Association to select talents. On the day of the alchemy preliminaries, Lung Ruoxiu and the others accompanied Lu Yen to the competition venue. "Lu Yen, remember, your ranking isn't important. It's enough for you to unleash your full strength," Lung Ruoxiu said to Lu Yen, who was about to go on stage. "Yes, I will," Lu Yen said gratefully. It was his first time participating in such an important competition, and he was indeed under a lot of pressure. The first round's designated pill was only an elementary-level pill, the amplification pill, and it wasn't difficult for the 20 or so alchemists present to concoct. The test for this round was not whether they could concoct the pill. It mainly tested whether the alchemists' foundations were strong, which was very important for alchemists. As the last alchemists on the field extinguished their flames, the more than 20 alchemists completed their first test. They were only waiting for the judges to grade them now. In the first test of concocting the designated pill, Lu Yen obtained 2nd place. Ranked above him was a genius from the Rising Dragon Academy's Alchemy Division, Lu Qing. "2nd place, that's great," Elder Chiu said excitedly. Lu Yen was the number 1 person in their Heavenly Phoenix Academy's Alchemy Division. "Elder Chiu, the preliminaries aren't over yet." Lung Ruoxiu poured cold water on him. This old man has been a little too excited these days. Elder Chiu also felt that he had been a little too smug. The second round was to concoct the pills that they were best at. Lung Ruoxiu knew that Lu Yen wanted to concoct an intermediate pill, the essence-enhancing pill. It was a pill that you had to master to become an alchemist. The grades of pills were divided into elementary, intermediate, advanced, earth grade, and heaven grade. Each grade was also divided into low, middle, and high. Apprentice alchemists had to be able to concoct elementary pills, alchemists had to be able to concoct intermediate pills, and so on. Concocting pills that matched the level of the alchemist was also an important basis for the assessment of the alchemist. The more than 20 students on the field methodically threw the medicinal herbs into the pill furnace in order. After the medicinal herbs melted, they condensed the pills according to alchemist techniques until the pills were ready. Seeing that the students on stage had completed their concocting, the crowd below the stage waited patiently for the judges' scores. About half an hour late, the results were finally out. Lu Yen was still second and had successfully entered the semifinal. A total of 10 alchemists advanced to the semifinal, and only 3 alchemists could enter the final, so the semifinal would be very intense. At the residence of the Heavenly Phoenix Academy in the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. Lu Yen, tell me if you don't have enough medicinal herbs? Lung Ruoxue came to Lu Yan's room and said to Lu Yen, who was practicing. Then she didn't bother him anymore and conveniently dragged away Elder Chiu, who came along with her. Ruoxue, why didn't you let me speak? Elder Chiu asked in puzzlement. Don't give him pressure. He's the #1 genius of our academy's alchemist division. You should have confidence in him, Lung Ruoxue said. Of course, I have confidence in him. I just want to encourage him. Elder Chiu said aggrievedly. Chapter 96. You've already got me already. 6. There's no need, Lung Ruoxue said and forcefully dragged Elder Chiu away. This old man has to change his habit of encouraging people whenever they go on stage to compete. What's wrong with this old man? Why does his face look so awful? Lung Qingtian asked in puzzlement when he saw the two of them walking out of Lu Yan's room in the corridor. I asked him not to pressure Lu Yan, so I didn't let him speak, Lung Ruoxue explained. This old man is just too nervous, Lung Qingtian said understandingly. The elders of the various academies were very concerned about their academy's results. Yes. Lung Ruoxue nodded in agreement. Grandpa, rest early. Okay. There was only one round for the semifinal and final on the second day. Each person would concoct 2 kinds of pills, and they would obtain the final total score. After the semifinal in the morning, Lu Yen still entered the final with second place. The final in the afternoon attracted many families. The Alchemist Association of Lunar Capital also sent a vice president to serve as a judge to show how much importance it placed on the competition. Hey, have you heard? Lu Qing, who was first in the semifinal, is the beloved disciple of one of the vice presidents of the Alchemist Association, someone below the stage said softly. Really? Then won't he win for sure? This isn't fair to others, right? Another person commented. There's no such thing as absolute fairness in this world. Power, status, and fairness all exist. But I don't think the people of the Alchemist Association would dare to be blatantly biased in front of everyone, right? Another person joined the discussion. Why are there so many people all of a sudden? Lung Ruoxue asked in bewilderment when she saw the audience full of people. The finals are open to ordinary people, but only 300 are allowed, Lung Ruhan explained. The finals of the other competitions were open to ordinary people except for the spiritualist team competition. This was the usual practice for every competition. I see. But aren't they too noisy? Lung Ruoxue said worriedly. This kind of competition required full concentration, and it might affect the competitor's performance if it was too noisy. Don't worry. They will quiet down once the competition officially begins, Lung Ruhan said. Sure enough, everyone was silent when the final officially began. All their eyes were on the 3 people competing on stage. In addition to Lu Yen and Lu Qing from the Rising Dragon Academy, there was another student from the Lunar Shadow Academy named Li Yuan. The 3 of them were alchemists, and the pill that all of them selected to concoct was the Replenishing Spirit Pill. The Replenishing Spirit Pill was an intermediate pill that had to be mastered by alchemists and was also a very common pill. It was mainly used to recover spiritual power, so the demand for replenishing spirit pills was very high. In order to concoct good pills, besides the alchemist techniques, Controlling the flame was also very important. Moreover, the mental strength of alchemists had a decisive effect on the quality of their pills, mainly because the mental strength required to concoct pills was very high. If the mental strength was not enough, there was no way to finally form the pills, no matter how well the prior steps were done. What pill does Lu Yen want to concoct? Elder Chiu asked in bewilderment as he watched Lu Yen take out medicinal herbs one by one from his ring. Lu Yen had already completed one kind of pill and was preparing to concoct a second one. Spiritual essence pill, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. What? SPI spiritual essence pill? Elder Chiu's jaw almost fell off from shock. Only a master alchemist could concoct spiritual essence pills. Wasn't that ridiculous? This is too ridiculous. Elder Chiu was fuming. Not necessarily. Lung Ruoxue said. She had known that this would be Elder Chiu's reaction, so she didn't tell him in advance. In fact, Lu Yen had looked for her last night and told her that he wanted to concoct spiritual essence pills, but he was a little nervous because the success rate had always been low. She encouraged Lu Yen to do as he wished without needing to think about the results. It seemed that Lu Yen took her words seriously. Elder Chiu, Lu Yen will still be in the top 3 even if he fails the concocting. But he will be first if he succeeds. Lung Ruoxue reminded. That's true. Elder Chiu calmed down after hearing what she said. Alas. It seems I'm really old now. I just can't keep up with the boldness of youth. On the stage, Lu Yen threw the medicinal herbs into the furnace according to the steps and carefully controlled the size of the flame. After the medicinal herbs melted, he began to purify them. When the medicinal liquid of only the size of a baby's fist was left and could no longer be purified, he began the final step of condensing the pill. Everyone's eyes were focused on Lu Yen, especially the judges on the stage, as the other 2 people had already completed their pills. They all stared at Lu Yen without blinking. If he really could concoct spiritual essence pills, he could be promoted to master alchemist. Lu Qing and Li Yuan also stared at Lu Yen because Lu Yan's performance determined their fate. After a while, Lu Yen finally completed the last step. Everyone's hearts, including his own, jumped to their throats when he opened the pill furnace. When he saw the 3 pure white pills in the middle of the furnace, the joy in Lu Yan's heart was indescribable. It was a success. We did it. Elder Chiu exclaimed excitedly. Lung Ruoxue looked indifferently at the 3 competitors and the judges with varying expressions on the stage, taking in their thoughts. The 3 competitors were all alchemists, but Lu Yen concocted spiritual essence pills. This was enough to show that Lu Yan's strength had already surpassed the alchemy genius Lu Qing of the Rising Dragon Academy. But Lu Qing was also the disciple of a vice president of the Alchemist Association, so she really looked forward to the judging panel's evaluation. This time, the evaluation took much longer than the previous evaluation. The judges on stage were discussing softly, and the audience below the stage were whispering among themselves. After nearly an hour, the judges' score was out. Lu Yen and Lu Qing tied for first place. The reason was that the success rate of spiritual essence pills was too unstable and couldn't be used as the only basis for evaluation, so Lu Yan's strength currently couldn't be determined. If he wanted to determine his level, he had to go to the Alchemist Association. Chapter 97. Concentrated is the essence. 1. Disappointed? Lung Ruoxue asked Lu Yen as he came down from the stage. I'm not disappointed. I was prepared for it. Lu Yen smiled calmly. Before he came to the competition, his master had reminded him, so he was prepared for it. This is too much. How can they do this? Elder Chiu said angrily. Elder Chiu, why are you so angry when even Lu Yen isn't angry? Lung Ruoxue said with some amusement while looking at the fuming Elder Chiu. Aren't you angry? Elder Chiu asked. No, I'm not angry. That Lu Qing is the beloved disciple of a vice president of the Alchemist Association. Those judges definitely wouldn't dare to offend him. Moreover, the eyes of the crowd are bright. Everyone knows who the true number 1 is. Why compete for that false reputation? Lung Ruoxue explained. Well, that's true. Elder Chiu said after some thought. Lu Yen, since you've decided to follow me, then you must remember that people with true strength don't need to rely on false reputations to make a name for themselves, Lung Ruoxue said very seriously. Everyone had their own ethics and principles, and this had always been one of her standards in dealing with others. Okay, I will remember, Lu Yen said. This was also what he really admired about Lung Ruoxue. He knew that she had always liked to keep a low profile. Let's go back. Go out through the back, Lung Ruoxue reminded. If Feng Da and the others hadn't blocked the way, who knows how many people would have pestered Lu Yen now. Okay. After the alchemist competition ended, the beast trainer competition began the next day. Beast trainers consumed a lot of mental strength to tame spirit beasts, and there were only a few competitors, so there was only one competition for beast trainers. The rule of the beast trainer competition was that whoever teamed the most spirit beasts within the allotted time would be the champion. On the day of the beast trainer competition, Lung Ruoxue and the others accompanied Hu Bin to the competition venue early as usual. Hu Bin was the representative of the Heavenly Phoenix Academy's Beast Trainer Division, and he had been getting along very well with them all along the way. Hu Bin, you can do it. Good luck. Feng Da and the others came to the side of the stage to cheer for Hu Bin, who was about to compete. I will do my best, Hu Bin said confidently. His beast trainer skills had improved a lot recently. There were only 12 people participating in the beast trainer competition. Most of the students were at the beast trainer level, and 2 of them were master beast trainers. Hu Bin was the 7th to go on stage. For the first 6 people, the most number of advanced spirit beasts anyone tamed was 5. After Hu Bin went on stage, he tamed 10 advanced spirit beasts easily, 3 of which were level 7, 3 were level 8, and 4 were level 9. This result was already very amazing for beast trainers. After taming 10 advanced spirit beasts, he walked to the cages with the holy beasts. Beast trainers had to be at least a master beast trainer to tame the most elementary holy beasts, so the holy beasts in the cages were only at level 1 or 2. What is he doing? Don't tell me he wants to tame a holy beast? Someone below the stage couldn't help whispering. How is that possible? He's only a beast trainer. How can he tame a holy beast? Is he tired of living? Another person chimed in. Ruoxue, could Hu Bin be thinking of taming a holy beast? Elder Chiu couldn't help asking, his heart in his throat. That's possible, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. Nonsense. A beast trainer wanting to tame a holy beast, does he want to die? Elder Chiu said angrily. Why are all of them making me worry? The mental strength of a beast trainer was not enough to tame a holy beast, and the consequences of failure would be a backlash. He would either become a fool or lose his life. That old man from the beast trainer division would find trouble with him regardless of whether Hu Bin became a fool or lost his life. Boo-hoo, these damn children. While Elder Chiu was stomping his feet, Hu Bin had already begun to tame a holy beast. He successfully tamed the holy beast about half an hour later. Elder Chiu looked at the situation on the stage and was so surprised that his jaw almost fell off. He did it. He actually did it. Hu Bin successfully tamed another holy beast before the time limit. Currently, Hu Bin was in first place with 10 advanced spirit beasts and 2 elementary holy beasts. There were another 5 people after him. After finishing his match, Hu Bin walked down from the stage very calmly. Hu Bin, you're not bad, Elder Chiu said happily. Beast trainers had always been the weakest division for their academy. He didn't expect Hu Bin to bring glory to their academy today. Let's see who dares to say that our academy can't produce a beast trainer in the future. It's all thanks to Miss, Hu Bin said shyly. He had also begun addressing Lung Ruoxue as Miss like Feng Da and the others ever since he started following Lung Ruoxue like Lu Yen. Plus, why don't I be your subordinate too? Elder Chiu said flatteringly, and he actually addressed her as Lass instead of Ruoxue. Along the way, Lung Ruoxue had won over his heart, and he had often subconsciously regarded her as their core. He didn't even feel that anything was amiss with it. Let's talk about it when you're free, Lung Ruoxue teased before turning to leave. Tomorrow was the artificer competition, so she had to go back early to prepare. What does this girl mean? Elder Chiu asked in puzzlement as he watched Lung Ruoxue walk away. Don't you understand? You're not free now, Feng Da said with a smile, leaving the struggling Elder Chiu behind. The Heavenly Phoenix Academy student was done with this competition anyway, so there was no point in staying. After the Beast Trainer competition ended, Hubin might have only come in third, but it was already the best result the Heavenly Phoenix Academy had ever achieved. In the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. Shuer, what are you thinking about? Yichen couldn't help asking curiously when he saw her staring blankly into space in the guest room. I'm thinking about tomorrow's artificer competition, Lung Ruoxue said softly. Are you worried that you won't be able to refine a treasured artifact? Yichen said with a chuckle. Chapter 98. Concentrated is the essence, too. Yeah. Lung Ruoxue was a little depressed. Artificing was the same as alchemy. The flames used were the fire attribute of the Bodis natal flame, but the natal flame also had levels, mainly divided into the grades of earth, heaven, and divine. The natal flame in her body was a divine grade flame. The purity of the divine grade flame was very high, so the quality of the equipment refined was also the highest. And tomorrow's competition was the same as the alchemist competition. There was a round of basic skill assessment, but now even the equipment she casually refined was a sacred artifact. Alas, it seems like you'll have to forfeit the first round tomorrow. If you can't refine it, so be it. Stop thinking about it and rest early, Yichen said. He didn't want Shuer to be upset over such a trivial matter. Okay, I'm going to bed. Hurry up and go. The top 20 academies had representatives to participate in the artificer competition. The rules of the competition were similar to the ones of the alchemist competition. But because of the uniqueness of artificing, only 2 rounds would be held, and the judges finalized the winner. On the day of the competition, Lung Ruoxue walked into the venue under the crowd's escort. The audience was surprised when they saw that it was Lung Ruoxue participating in the competition. Lung Ruoxue's performance in the team competition was really too breathtaking. People were amazed. A powerful spiritualist coupled with the noble status of an artificer, is this still possible? Hey, what's the matter? An audience member asked the person next to him in a low voice. Many people were stunned when they saw the girl. She was really too beautiful. That girl is the champion of the team competition. I didn't expect her to be an artificer. This is too shocking. An audience member who knew the situation explained. Really? Are you sure? Someone asked doubtfully. Of course. I watched the team competition. The person said proudly. The team competition isn't open to ordinary people. How did you get in? Another person asked with a puzzled face. Of course. It's none of your business. The person roared in anger. The host took the lead to go on stage. Everyone, please be quiet. The competition is about to begin. Now, let us welcome the participating artificers onto the stage. The moment the host finished speaking, the competitors walked onto the stage in an orderly manner, found their place, and began preparing. After the judges gave the order, the already prepared artificers began to focus on artificing. Every artificer carefully followed the steps and threw the materials into the furnace in order. But only Lung Ruoxue didn't do anything. What's wrong with this girl? Why isn't she moving? Elder Chiu asked in bewilderment. Elder Chiu, do you think that person is Tsong Min? Feng De deliberately averted Elder Chiu's gaze. It is her. Damn it. She's actually representing the Lunar Shadow Academy in the competition. Elder Chiu's face twisted in anger when he saw the school badge on Tsong Min. What is she trying to do? Elder Chiu, Tsong Min obviously isn't a good person. And you still treat her as a treasure, Lin Yuan said disdainfully. Well, she's the most qualified student in our artificer division after all. It's normal to treat her better than the other students. Elder Chiu wiped the sweat off his forehead. Our young lady said that aptitude and whatnot aren't important. Character is the most important, Lin Yuan said. He increasingly understood how reasonable the words of his young lady were after being together with her for a long time. That girl is a monster, Elder Chiu couldn't help saying. What? Can't refine anything? Do you think anyone can be an artificer? Tsong Min, who had completed her refinement, looked at Lung Ruoxue with some jealousy and provoked her. She was an artificer with a heaven-grade natal flame and a boundless future. How could a simpleton compare to her? I don't need you to worry about me. Just take care of yourself, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. She didn't even have the desire to attack such a clown. I'm just being nice, yet you don't appreciate it? Song Min said aggrievedly. Lung Ruoxue was speechless. Why do these people like acting so much? Aren't they tired? You're still a student of the Heavenly Phoenix Academy, aren't you? But you're actually representing the Lunar Shadow Academy in the competition, Lung Ruoxue said mockingly. She originally didn't want to bother with her, but she just had to cause trouble. So why should she be polite then? I'm no longer a student of the Heavenly Phoenix Academy, Song Min said nonchalantly. Is that up to you? Have you completed the procedures? Lung Ruoxue asked. The academies had a consensus on student management in order to prevent students from being poached by other academies. Students who had not completed any withdrawal procedures were still considered students of the academy. Do I need to worry about such a small matter? Someone will arrange it for me, Song Min said proudly. The Lunar Shadow Academy treated her much better than the Heavenly Phoenix Academy, which greatly satisfied her vanity. Then I wish you success, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently and then ignored her. After the first round ended, Song Min came in second. The first was Wang Wei, the artificing genius of the Rising Dragon Institute. Lung Ruoxue was last because she didn't refine the required equipment. The artificer could choose the equipment they were good at and refine it for the second round. The second round of the competition just began, and the participating students already seized the time to smelt the materials. Artificing and alchemy were different. Most of the materials used for artificing were very hard, so the time to melt them was relatively long. Moreover, it had to be purified after melting, and then it had to be molded and tempered. The steps were more complicated than alchemy, and the time taken was also longer. While the others were smelting materials, Lung Ruoxue was not in a hurry to start. She was thinking about the equipment she wanted to refine. After deciding, Lung Ruoxue began to work. She first lit the furnace fire and then threw the materials into the furnace one by one. After the materials melted into liquid, she removed the impurities and purified them. After condensing the liquid into the size of a baby's fist, she began to shape it according to her imagination and finally tempered it. Although Lung Ruoxue was the last to start, she was the first to finish. After she completed the last step, the people below the stage could finally see clearly that she was holding a palm-sized man's clothing and pants. The clothing might be small, but the style was novel, and it was in a style they had never seen before. But could such a small piece of clothing be worn? The people below the stage couldn't help being a little puzzled. Chapter 99. Concentrated is the essence. 3. Lung Ruoxue looked at the clothes in her hand with satisfaction. They should be regarded as battle armor, but she had refined it into leisure wear. As for the grade, it was naturally a sacred artifact. An inconspicuous old man on the judging panel looked at Lung Ruoxue with bright eyes, as if he wanted to swallow her alive. The legendary divine flame. The old man never dreamed that he would actually see the legendary flame. You had to know that flames were crucial for artificers and alchemists. The higher the level of the flame, the higher the quality of the refined equipment or concocted pills. Therefore, the level of the battle armor was definitely not low. But what was even more unexpected was that someone actually knew the legendary divine refining technique. You had to know that ordinary refining techniques were not able to refine battle armor and other equipment of such a small size. Only the legendary divine refining technique could do so. The divine refining technique. He had only heard it from his master, so no one else on the Ling Feng continent knew about it except him. The legendary divine flame. The legendary divine refining technique. Who exactly is this girl? Her talent really makes it so that people can't even be jealous of her. Is this what you refined? That's right. A tiny flame like yours is only enough to refine such a small thing. Song Min walked to Lung Ruoxue and mocked her. She almost laughed when she saw the flame that wasn't even as big as a fingernail in Lung Ruoxue's hand. How can such a small flame refine artifacts? What is concentrated is the essence. It would be a waste of the flame if I used any more than necessary, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. You sure are frugal. But if the judges don't like this thing you refined, you will really be at the bottom, Song Min gloated. She would be happy to see Lung Ruoxue make a fool of herself. You're not a judge. How can you be sure that the judging panel won't take a liking to it? Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. She really didn't care about the rankings. She knew very well what her standard was, and she didn't need others to evaluate her. Well, see, Song Min said angrily and returned to her spot. Shuer, what did you refine? Armor? Feng Moran asked curiously when he saw Lung Ruoxue coming down from the stage. Yes, armor, Lung Ruoxue said. Lass, everyone is waiting for the results on stage. Why did you come down? Elder Chiu asked worriedly when he saw only Lung Ruoxue coming down the stage. Ruoxue's behavior would be regarded as rude by the proud judges, and the results wouldn't be good for Ruoxue then. I'm tired. I'm going back to rest. Remember to help me get my armor back. Lung Ruoxue glanced at Elder Chiu. She knew that this old man would never leave before the results were out. Lung Ruoxue and Yi Chen returned to the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. I'm going to sleep. Don't disturb me if there's nothing important, Lung Ruoxue said to Freak before entering the room. Yes, I know. I'm sorry, everyone. My young lady is resting and will not entertain guests. Feng De blocked the door of Lung Ruoxue's room while speaking to the people who wanted to see his young lady. Why are these people so annoying? I said that she wouldn't entertain guests, but not only aren't they leaving, but they actually want to force their way in. What's going on outside? Why is it so noisy? Lung Ruoxue opened her eyes in displeasure in the room. She hated being disturbed while sleeping. Master, a lot of people are outside, said Charm, who had been lying in Lung Ruoxue's arms. Go and see who they are? Lung Ruoxue said angrily. Upon hearing this, Charm transformed into a ray of white light and left the room. He returned in no time. People from the Artificer Association and prominent families want to see you, Charm explained. Why do they want to see me? Lung Ruoxue said impatiently. Shuer, you're awake? Lung Ruhan knocked on the door softly and walked in. Shuer, the people from the Artificer Association want to see you, Lung Ruhan said. They had sent away the people from the prominent families, but the people from the Artificer Association were unwilling to leave. No, I want to sleep, Lung Ruoxue said willfully. I just want to sleep. Boo. Why is it so difficult to get some sleep? Shuer, Grandpa said that it's best not to offend people from the Artificer Association, Lung Ruhan said. He knew that Shuer had no plans to join the Artificer Association. But the status of the Artificer Association was extraordinary, so it was only right to befriend them if possible. All right then, Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. In fact, she was very clear about the purpose of the Artificer Association and didn't want to have any contact with its people. After getting up, Lung Ruoxue washed up, walked out of the room, and went straight to the reception room. When Lung Ruoxue entered the reception room, she saw an ordinary-looking thin old man sitting beside her grandfather and chatting with him. Two middle-aged men were standing behind the old man. Grandpa, Shuer is here. Shuer, this old gentleman is the representative of the Artificer Association, Lung Qingtian introduced. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting, Lung Ruoxue said courteously. She knew this old man. He was one of the judges of the Artificer competition. It's okay. I know you've all been exhausted these days, the old man said amiably, without any displeasure on his face. I'm Lung Ruoxue. May I know your good name? Little girl, am I that old? I really like you, little girl. I want to be good friends with you. I don't know if you're willing to give me some face? The old man said pitifully. Lung Ruoxue was at a loss for words. Is this old man being coquettish? She wasn't the only one. Lung Qingtian and the two middle-aged men behind the old man were also embarrassed. Little girl, I'll take your silence as consent, the old man said cunningly, his eyes flashing rapidly. Lung Ruoxue nodded helplessly. It seemed like this old man was planning to rely on her, but she was not afraid of whatever his motive was. Come and greet your junior aunt, you two brats, the old man hollered. Greetings, junior aunt, the two middle-aged men said obediently. Chapter 100. Concentrated is the essence. 4. Lung Ruoxue was flabbergasted. Junior ant. How did I become a junior ant? Elderly, don't call me elderly. Just call me Old Man Zao, the old man protested. All right then, Old Man Zao. I'm not their junior ant. Lung Ruoxue said. This old man's identity was a mystery, and she really didn't want to have too much involvement with him. Why aren't you? We're on par, and they're my disciples, so of course they have to call you junior ant. The old man said very matter-of-factly. Lung Ruoxue was really speechless about the old man's thoughts. Must this old man insist on being related to me? Junior ant, please take care of us in the future, the two middle-aged men said tactfully. Following whatever their master said would definitely not go wrong. Don't these two people have no opinions at all at such an age? Why are they so obedient to their master? Lung Ruoxue was helpless. In fact, this was something Lung Ruoxue didn't know. The master-disciple relationship in this world was more intimate in certain aspects than blood relations, especially for special professions such as artificers, alchemists, and beast trainers. Lung Ruoxue sized up the three of them. She couldn't tell the level of the old man, but these two disciples were elementary spiritual monarchs with ordinary aptitude. After some thought, Lung Ruoxue took out 2 remolding pills. These are 2 remolding pills. I'll give them to you. Lung Ruoxue said. She originally didn't want to give them any gifts, but now that these 2 middle-aged men were calling her junior aunt, she felt strange if she didn't express her gratitude. They're from your junior aunt. Hurry and put them away. The old man hollered. Thank you, junior aunt. The 2 of them hesitated and obediently took the pills from Lung Ruoxue's hand. In fact, they didn't want them at first. After all, remolding pills weren't precious pills, and the effects after use were very ordinary. Moreover, with their status, they could obtain any pill they wanted. So they didn't take this small remolding pill seriously at all, but they dared not disobey their master's words. Lung Ruoxue could naturally tell that they didn't care about the remolding pills, but she didn't mind because she knew very well that remolding pills were of little value to most. Moreover, this was the normal reaction of people. She would really be disgusted if they pretended to be grateful when they obviously didn't care about them. Lass, you still have to compete the day after tomorrow, so I won't bother you anymore. Take this. If you have any issues in the future, feel free to look for these 2 brats in the Artificer Association to help you. The old man threw Lung Ruoxue a black badge and left. Farewell, great General Lung and junior aunt. The 2 middle-aged men left with their master. Grandpa, who are they? Lung Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. She still didn't know the identities of these 3 people. Grandpa doesn't know either. They only said that they are from the Artificer Association, Lung Qingtian said. The Artificer Association had always kept a low profile, so he didn't know much about its people. Grandpa, is Elder Chiu back? Yes. He went into his room as soon as he returned, Lung Qingtian said. I'm going to look for Elder Chiu. Master, why didn't we invite Lung Ruoxue to join the Artificer Association? A middle-aged man couldn't help asking after they left the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. Our Artificer Association is too small to accommodate her, the old man said with emotion. Master, when you see her in the future, you must show her as much respect as you show your master. Also, take the 2 pills she gave you when you go back. There might be a miracle. The old man interrupted his disciple and half-ordered them. He believed in his eyesight. That girl might become their benefactor in the future. Yes, master. Although they were skeptical of Lung Ruoxue's strength, they firmly believed and even blindly worshipped their master. Elder Chiu. Lung Ruoxue came to the door of Elder Chiu's room and knocked. But there was no response for a long time. The door suddenly opened just as Lung Ruoxue was about to leave. Elder Chiu, did you get my armor back? Lung Ruoxue asked as she walked into the room. I brought it back, Elder Chiu said. Give it to me. Here. Elder Chiu had reluctantly examined it for a long time. But he couldn't figure out anything about this armor, so he handed it to Lung Ruoxue. Bless. I almost lost my old life for this armor. Shouldn't you compensate me? Elder Chiu said expectantly. Elder Chiu, what does this have to do with your life? Lung Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. It's all because of your armor. You became the champion of the artificer competition with this armor. Do you know how chaotic the scene was? Many academies asked the judges to give an explanation, and the scene was only controlled when the judges said that your armor was the highest grade equipment refined in this competition. Elder Chiu relayed the grand scene to Lung Ruoxue. Oh, did they mention the grade? Lung Ruoxue asked casually. No. Oh right, Ruoxue, is this armor a spirit artifact? Elder Chiu asked curiously. Apart from Lung Ruoxue's armor, the highest grade of equipment refined at that time was a long saber of the treasured artifact grade, so he guessed that the armor should be a spirit artifact. Spirit artifact. Only a master artificer can refine one. Elder Chiu, what do you plan on doing about Song Min? Lung Ruoxue changed the topic. Her results were disqualified, Elder Chiu said happily. Was her identity exposed? Lung Ruoxue asked. How did you know? This girl is really shrewd. She wasn't even there at the time, yet she could guess it. Why else would her results be disqualified? With her strength, it shouldn't have been a problem for her to get into the top 3, Lung Ruoxue said objectively. She was originally 3rd, but the Flying Bird Academy exposed her identity as a student of our academy who participated in the competition for the Lunar Shadow Academy. So she was stripped of her ranking, Elder Chiu explained gloatingly. Chapter 101. Concentrated is the essence, 5. Elder Chiu, there's still a competition the day after tomorrow. I'm going back to my room first, Lung Ruoxue said after they chatted for a while. Ruoxue, rest early, Elder Chiu said thoughtfully. Big brother. Lung Ruoxue came straight to Lung Ruhan's room after exiting Elder Chiu's room. Shuer, why aren't you asleep yet? Lung Ruhan asked. Big brother isn't sleeping either. Big brother, this is for you. Lung Ruoxue took out the armor she had refined in the competition and handed it to Lung Ruhan. When she refined it, she had custom-made it for her brother. For me. Lung Ruhan was obviously surprised. Who do you think I refined it for if not you, big brother? Lung Ruoxue said mischievously. I thought it was for Yi Chen. Lung Ruhan said. Big brother, I custom-made this for you. It's only suitable for big brother. Just recognize it as yours, Lung Ruoxue explained and handed the casual-style armor to Lung Ruhan. Shuer, thanks. Lung Ruhan gently embraced his sister. Big brother, don't be so polite with Shuer. Otherwise, I will be angry. Lung Ruoxue deliberately scowled. Okay, I won't be saying thank you to Shuer anymore, Lung Ruhan said lovingly. That's right. Big brother, I'm going back to my room to sleep. Rest early, Lung Ruoxue said. Okay. Why are you here? Lung Ruoxue returned to her room and saw Yi Chen in it. Shuer, you're being biased. I want one too. Yi Chen complained aggrievedly, his pitch-black eyes glittering. Lung Ruoxue was at a loss for words. What is Freak doing? Is he going to cry? What do you want? Lung Ruoxue pretended to be confused. Battle armor. I want one too, Yi Chen said with jealousy. Although Lung Ruhan was Shuer's elder brother, it didn't mean that he wouldn't be jealous. I'll refine one for you when I have time, Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. That's more like it. Yi Chen smiled lightly when he saw that he achieved his goal. I remember saying that you're not allowed to smile, Lung Ruoxue suddenly said. No woman could resist the heaven-shaking smile of Freak, except her, of course. There are no outsiders here, Yi Chen said nonchalantly. How resistant can this little thing be? Can't she be love-struck? After Yi Chen left her room, she flashed directly into the Heaven and Earth bracelet. Little Feng Feng, Blaze, and the 3 little white tigers pounced onto her. She looked helplessly at the few little things struggling to climb onto her body. Then she bent down and directly picked up the fluffy little fellows. Big sister, Feng Feng missed you so much, the little silver wolf, who had already grown up quite a bit, said tenderly. Big sister, Blaze missed you too, Blaze said, unwilling to be outdone. And us, big sister? The 3 little white tigers didn't want to be ignored either. I know. Big sister missed you too. You weren't naughty, were you? Lung Ruoxue asked. She had spent a lot less time in the Heaven and Earth bracelet since the start of the competition. Big sister? Qing Ju appeared in front of Lung Ruoxue. Okay, play by yourselves. Big sister is going to cultivate. She had been cultivating the second level of the heaven-defying art, but there were no signs of a breakthrough yet. Lung Ruoxue walked into the purple bamboo hut and went to see baby first. He was sleeping as usual. Then she entered the cultivation room and quietly cultivated. When Lung Ruoxue emerged from the heaven and earth bracelet, it was already night the next day. Fortunately, she had told Freak in advance that she wanted to cultivate, or they would have died of anxiety. After coming out, Lung Ruoxue went directly to the reception room arranged for the Heavenly Phoenix Academy by the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. Everyone happened to be here. Swear. Lung Qingtian was the first to see his granddaughter. Grandpa, what are you talking about? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. Elder Chiu is arranging tomorrow's tactics for them, Lung Qingtian said. Isn't it the individual competition tomorrow? Lung Ruoxue said. Strength in the individual competition was the most important, and secondly, it depended on performance on the spot. Yes, Ruoxue. I'm telling them about the accidents that might happen, Elder Chiu said. Accidents referring to dark horses? Lung Ruoxue guessed. How do you know? Elder Chiu asked in surprise. What other accidents can there be? Poisoned by others before the match? Lung Ruoxue teased. Elder Chiu stared at Lung Ruoxue in disbelief. How do you know? This girl is amazing. Really? Lung Ruoxue was a little surprised. But on second thought, she understood. The individual competition was much more important to these students than the group competition. After all, in addition to their ranking and honor, more importantly, the individual competitions determined their future and their status in their families. So it was not strange that they would take it so seriously. It happened before. But later on, the major academies became more vigilant to prevent similar things from happening again, Elder Chiu explained. All right. Lass, you still don't know the rules of the individual competition, right? Elder Chiu said again. Yes. Lung Ruoxue nodded. The individual competition will begin tomorrow and will last for 12 days. There will be a total of 300 students participating in it. The first 2 days are the preliminaries. There will be 2 rounds each day. The students will each fight against each other, and the winner will advance. After the 2 days of preliminaries, 19 students will advance to the semifinals. However, on the second day of the preliminaries, there will be a lucky student who will advance directly to the semifinals on the third day. The finals will use a round-robin system with 5 matches per day for a period of 9 days. Of course, there will be breaks arranged during the competition. However, this is roughly the process, Elder Chiu explained. Swear, the individual competition each time is rather tragic, so you must be on high alert, Lung Ruhan reminded. Don't worry, big brother, Lung Ruoxue promised. Everyone should be clear now. Go back to your rooms and rest early. Elder Chiu urged. On the morning of the first day of the preliminaries, Lung Ruoxue and the others arrived early at the competition venue of the Lunar Shadow Academy. They drew numbers again and then sat in their seats to wait for their turn. Chapter 102. Concentrated is the essence. 6. It's you. A girl from the Rising Dragon Institute walked up to Lung Ruoxue. Swear, do you know her? Feng Moran, who was sitting beside Lung Ruoxue, asked softly. The woman's gaze was very unfriendly. No. How dare you say you don't know me? I am Shiminya, princess of the Northern Frost Empire, the girl named Shiminya roared, her beautiful face distorted in intense anger. What can I do about it? This young lady is very busy. I don't have time to remember any random person, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. In fact, she recognized this woman as soon as she walked over, but she just didn't want to bother with her. You? Shiminya was so angry that she couldn't find her words. It's my turn. Lung Ruoxue ignored the fuming Shiminya and walked toward the stage. Lung Ruoxue's opponent was a student from the Flying Bird Academy. After she went on stage, she defeated her opponent in merely one move. She really didn't feel a sense of accomplishment from ending the battle so quickly. The other students of the Heavenly Phoenix Academy didn't meet any strong opponents in the first round of the preliminaries, so everyone won very easily. After the preliminaries and semifinals were over, The list of the top 10 students was out. Lung Ruoxue Yichen, Feng Moran, Mu Li, Feng De, and Lin Yuan were all on the list. The other four were Huaqing, Xiao Yi, and Pang Sin from the Lunar Shadow Academy and Di Fei from the Flying Bird Academy. Lung Ruoxue was luckier because she had directly advanced to the semifinals on the second day of the preliminaries. Tell me, what did you do? Shiminya walked to Lung Ruoxue and said with a face full of anger. How can this hateful woman be so lucky? I am Northern Frost's most favored princess. This luck should be mine. Lung Ruoxue looked at Shiminya as though she was looking at an idiot and then said to Yi Chen and the others, let's go back to the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. Okay. Stop right there. How dare you? Shiminya's beautiful face looked a little ferocious because of her anger. How dare these people ignore me? They must be tired of living. Unfortunately, Lung Ruoxue and the others ignored her no matter how she shouted from behind. Oh, there's actually a day when our princess is ignored. Shui Shinran walked over from afar and said mockingly. She was very happy to see Shiminya being ignored. She hated this arrogant and self-righteous princess even more than she hated Lung Ruoxue. How dare she compete with me for my big brother Qin? She's really overestimating herself. Shui Shinran, with Lung Ruoxue around, can you still be the number one beauty? Shiminya retaliated, unwilling to be outdone. For a woman who cared so much about her appearance, the blow of the sudden appearance of a woman more beautiful than herself was absolutely unbearable. This was also one of the main reasons why she hated Shui Shinran and Lung Ruoxue. As for the other main reason, of course it was men. You don't have to worry about that. Even if I can't become the number one beauty, my rank will still be ahead of yours, Shui Shinran said through clenched teeth. Damn woman. Are you done bickering? Huaqing walked over with a stern face. Big brother Qin. After seeing Huaqing, the two mutually hostile women immediately became well-behaved. What a disgrace. Huaqing said coldly and left without looking back. Big brother Qin, wait for me, the two women said in unison. They glared at each other as they spoke and then chased after Huaqing. After the semifinals, there would be 2 days to rest. Because the competition was almost over, the students of the other academies had basically returned to their academies except for the top 10 academies. Only one elder from each academy stayed behind as the representative to watch the competition. After returning to the Elegant Lagoon Pavilion, Lung Ruoxue and the others returned to their rooms to rest. Many families had wanted to see them during this period, but she had asked Elder Chiu to stop them. Moreover, there were regulations during the academy competition that the various prominent families were not allowed to harass the students and affect the competition. It was precisely because of this rigid rule that these families became much more well-behaved, but there were also some who didn't abide by the rule. The first thing Lung Ruoxue did after returning to her room was to have a good night's sleep. After waking up, she went to the restaurant downstairs to have breakfast. She had just started to order when Yi Chen and Big Brother Feng came down together. Shuer, we thought you were still asleep, Feng Moran said. They were already used to Shuer's hobby of sleeping. I just woke up, Lung Ruoxue said. She actually slept all the way to the next day, and it was almost noon. I want the same thing she ordered. Yi Chen said to the waiter. Me too, Feng Moran said. Can we sit together? Huaqing and a few others walked downstairs and saw Lung Ruoxue and the other two. Can I say no? Lung Ruoxue was a little annoyed. Why are there always women at Huaqing's side? This time, he actually brought two, Shui Shinran and Shiminya. These two women just happened to be very hostile to her. Eating was originally a very happy and satisfying thing, but who could still eat with such unpleasant people around? Young Master Hua, our table can't fit so many people, Feng Moran said politely. Ordinary people would find an excuse to leave when they heard him decline so tactfully, but he obviously underestimated Huaqing's thick skin. It's okay. Just set up another table, Huaqing said nonchalantly and called the innkeeper over. In fact, he didn't know why he wanted to be here. But he knew very well that Lung Ruoxue's direct refusal displeased him greatly. The innkeeper quickly arranged for people to arrange 2 tables together. Huaqing sat opposite Lung Ruoxue, with Shui Xinran and Ximinya sitting on his sides. On Shui Xinran's left side was Feng Moran, and on Ximinya's right was Yichen. Ximinya saw the men she liked sitting on her left and right sides and was so happy that she was about to fly to the moon. But her beautiful dream was quickly broken. Move aside. This is my seat. Feng De brought a chair over, placed it between Yi Chen and Ximinya, and sat down despite the crowd. Deputy Leader Yi is our young lattice man. How dare this woman covet him? She must be tired of living. Chapter 103. Do you dare to accept my challenge? 1. On another side, Lin Yuan also took a chair and placed it between Shui Xinran and Feng Moran. Shui Xinran glared at Lin Yuan with dissatisfaction and moved over a little reluctantly. Lin Yuan sat down. Why, you barbarian, how can you be so rude? Ximinya roared angrily and grudgingly moved toward Huqing. How can a barbarian be polite? Do you have any manners for me to see? Feng De said mockingly. This woman was still finding trouble with his young lady yesterday, yet she had the cheek to sit down at the same table shamelessly today. That's right. The skin of aristocratic and imperial families had always been quite thick. Big brother Qing. Ximinya looked at Huqing aggrievedly. Leng Ruoxue and the others had goosebumps when they heard her calling him Big Brother Qing. Shui Xinran, on the other hand, was fuming mad. Do you think you have the right to call him Big Brother Qing? Shui Xinran said with jealousy. This bitch actually dares to seduce my man in front of me. She must be tired of living. Big Brother Qing, this barbarian bullied me. You have to help me. Ximinya ignored Shui Xinran and acted coquettishly. Big Brother Qing will give me face in public, won't he? How do you want me to help you, princess? There was no emotion on his handsome face, and his tone was light. Big Brother Qing, you just have to help me teach him a lesson. Ximinya wasn't stupid. She knew that if her request was too much, Huqing wouldn't bother with her at all. Moreover, private fights were not allowed during the academy competition. Princess, don't you know the rules during the competition? Huqing frowned. Is this princess treating me like a goon? I'm not a lapdog following her around. I just want my big brother Qing to teach him a lesson for me. This isn't a fight. Ximinya said coquettishly. Go away. Big brother Qing won't meddle in your affairs. Shui Xinran roared furiously. Click. Leng Ruoxue put down her chopsticks, and her beautiful eyes glanced at them indifferently. The sudden sound stunned Shui Xinran and Ximinya, but they quickly reacted. What are you doing? The two roared in unison. This isn't a place for you to be jealous of each other. Don't affect my mood when I eat. Not just anyone can touch my people. Leng Ruoxue warned as she looked at Huqing. I'm sorry, they were too rude, Huqing quickly mediated. He didn't want to anger them, but what he didn't know was that he had actually already angered Leng Ruoxue. Young Master Hua, it's better if we remain strangers from now on, Leng Ruoxue said without giving him any face. She really didn't want to be like in her previous life, being hypocritical with people she didn't like. In this life, she only wanted to live freely and do whatever she wanted to do. It was enough to protect herself and the people she cared about. As for those aristocratic families, imperial families, and the like, she couldn't be bothered to deal with them. But she knew very well that if she wanted to live the life she wanted without any qualms, she had to be stronger than anyone else. Otherwise, everything would be empty talk. Before participating in this academy competition, she had already expected what she would have to face. It was impossible for her to keep a low profile like before since she had become famous from the competition. Since it was destined that she could not keep a low profile, she could only be arrogant, and there was a price to pay for daring to have any ideas about her. Upon hearing this, Huqing was stunned for a moment. But he soon recovered and smiled. Do you think that's possible? To be honest, Huqing really didn't know what provoked her to dislike him so much. The feeling of being hated by a woman really made him a little uncomfortable. As long as you really want something, there's nothing impossible, Leng Ruoxue said indifferently. Then she stood up and walked upstairs. Seeing this, Yi Chen and the others hurriedly left as well. Big brother Qing, this woman is too much. Who does she think she is? Shimenya tried to get into Huaqing's good books with a fawning expression while hating Leng Ruoxue to the core. That's right. Big brother Qing, Leng Ruoxue didn't leave you with any dignity. She's really too much, Shui Xinran said against the common enemy. When did your relationship become so good? Huaqing stood up and walked out. Don't follow me. His cold voice drifted over just as Shui Xinran and Shimenya stood up from their chairs and were about to follow behind him. Leng Ruoxue and the others went straight to the reception room upstairs. Swear, you'll get someone to deliver some food, Yichen said. He hadn't eaten well downstairs just now. He and those people had little common ground and couldn't get along. How could he have an appetite eating with people he hated? Okay. Leng Ruoxue nodded. She hadn't eaten well either. I'll order, Feng De said quickly. Feng De called for food, and the group began eating in the reception room. What? Didn't you have lunch? Elder Qiu and Leng Qingtian walked in together. We weren't full. Grandpa, Elder Qiu, have you eaten? Leng Ruoxue asked them. We've eaten. Oh, by the way, Shuer, the Imperial Palace sent a message asking you guys, Elder Qiu, and me to attend the banquet, Leng Qingtian said. A banquet? Not interested. She would rather sleep in her room. Last, the banquet was approved by the Lunar Shadow Academy, so it's not good to miss it. It's almost a tradition now, Elder Qiu explained. Every time the competition approached the end, the imperial family of the host country would invite some students who performed excellently in the academy competition and their elders to the imperial palace for a banquet. In addition, some top families would also send invitations. But since the competition had not ended, it was up to the organizers whether or not they could go. Does that mean I have to attend? Leng Ruoxue was a little annoyed. She hated these hypocritical social interactions now, perhaps because she had had too many social engagements in her previous life. Yes. We will offend a lot of people if we don't attend, Elder Qiu said. In fact, he didn't like going either, but he had to. When? Tonight. The palace will send a carriage to pick us up. Chapter 104. Do you dare to accept my challenge? 2. Oh. Leng Ruoxue answered lightly, obviously not in a good mood. After eating, Leng Ruoxue returned to her room and entered the Heaven and Earth bracelet. Big sister. Qing Ju appeared in front of her. Qing Ju, where are those little fellows? Leng Ruoxue was a little curious. If they knew that she came in, they would have pounced on her immediately. Why didn't they come today? I locked them up for cultivation. They only know how to play all day. When can they grow up? Qing Ju said disgruntledly. Well done. Those little fellows are a little too naughty, Leng Ruoxue praised while gently pinching Qing Ju's beautiful little face. Big sister, you're taking advantage of me again. Qing Ju pouted his red lips as he complained, but a hint of affection flashed across his eyes. How could I? You little thing, what's there to take advantage of? Leng Ruoxue defended herself with a few black lines hanging on her forehead. Big sister always likes to touch me. Wouldn't that be considered taking advantage of me? A cunning look flashed past Qing Ju's eyes, and the word wronged was written all over his pink face. Leng Ruoxue was a little embarrassed, and she immediately left the Heaven and Earth bracelet after taking some items. After leaving the Heaven and Earth bracelet, Leng Ruoxue went straight to her brother's room and knocked on the door gently. Shuer. Leng Ruhan opened the door and welcomed his sister into the room. Big brother, we are going to the palace tonight. Are you coming with us? Leng Ruoxue asked. Shuer, big brother didn't receive an invitation. Of course I can't go, Leng Ruhan said indifferently. Big brother, of course you can go if you want to. Let's see who would dare to stop you. Leng Ruoxue said domineeringly. She would be worried if her brother stayed in the inn. Shuer, big brother doesn't want to go, Leng Ruhan said. He wasn't interested in boring social gatherings. Then big brother should play in the Heaven and Earth bracelet. Leng Ruoxue suggested. But I happen to miss Big White and his family, Leng Ruhan said understandingly, knowing that his sister was worried about his safety. After exiting Leng Ruhan's room, Leng Ruoxue went to look for Yichen. Shuer, let's take a walk around the streets, Yichen said after seeing her. Okay, this is for you. Lung Ruoxue handed him the armor she had refined. Yi Chen happily accepted it. After binding it with a drop of blood, he held it in his hand and looked at it over and over again. Not only was the style of his armor different from Lung Ruhan's, but the color was also different. Lung Ruhan's was white, while his was black. He might have wanted Lung Ruhan's previously, but it was obvious that he preferred his own. After he felt that he had looked over it enough, he hurriedly put the armor on and looked at Lung Ruoxue expectantly. "How is it?" "Not bad. It suits you very well." Lung Ruoxue knew that this armor was very suitable for Freak. "Then I'll wear it from now on," Yi Chen said with satisfaction. The armor Schwer made looked like ordinary clothes, and no one would be able to tell that it was battle armor. "Okay." Yi Chen held Lung Ruoxue's soft hand, and the two of them walked out of the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. This was the first time he held Schwer's hand openly, and she didn't refuse. His relationship with her had finally taken another step. The two of them walked around the streets for a while. But there were too many people on the streets, and they would be surrounded and looked at wherever they went. They had no choice but to return to the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. Alas, this was the price of fame. At night, the Imperial Palace sent a carriage to pick them up from the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. After the people from 3 academies got into the carriage, they found that Pang Sen and others from the Lunar Shadow Academy were already inside. The carriage was very luxurious and spacious, so it didn't feel crowded even though there were more than 10 people in it. The 4 academies each sat in one corner, ignoring each other. Lung Ruoxue leaned comfortably against Yi Chen and closed her eyes to take a nap. No one spoke on the way to the Imperial Palace, so the carriage appeared abnormally dull. However, Yi Chen was quite happy along the way because Schwer was leaning on him. He took the opportunity to pull her into his arms and took advantage of her openly without any qualms. "Schwer, we've arrived at the palace?" Yi Chen was a little regretful. "Why did we arrive so soon?" Everyone alighted from the carriage one by one. The Imperial Palace was grand and majestic, but it was not very attractive to them. Most of them came from aristocratic families, so it was nothing spectacular to them. "Esteemed guests, please follow me." A young eunuch walked to them, bowed respectfully, and then led the way. After walking for about 10 minutes, they arrived at the banquet hall. The young eunuch led them to the prearranged seats and left. The Heavenly Phoenix Academy only won 2nd place in the previous academy competition. Although the competition this time was very eye-catching, the competition, especially the most important individual competition, was not over yet, so their seats were still arranged according to the previous placing. The Rising Dragon College was at the front, followed by the Heavenly Phoenix Academy, Lunar Shadow Academy, and Flying Bird Academy. Seated opposite them were various aristocratic families. "Elder Chiu, didn't you say that only the students with excellent performance in the academy competition and their elders would be invited?" After sitting down, Lung Ruoxue looked at Elder Chiu with a questioning gaze. There seemed to be people from the top 10 academies other than the 4 academies. They're no longer in the competition. The Imperial Palace must have sent them an invitation individually, Elder Chiu guessed. It was not like this had never happened before. Lung Ruoxue nodded slightly, closed her eyes again, and leaned against Yi Chen as if no one was here. How shameless! How dare she lean on a man in public? Shimenya whispered in jealousy. "I'm afraid no one wants you to lean on him," Feng De said mockingly while looking at this princess who liked to cause trouble for his young lady. Losing control of herself from anger, Shimenya immediately stood up and ordered, "How dare you? Guards, drag this lowly commoner out." Chapter 105. Do you dare to accept my challenge? 3. Princess, calm down. Although you are a princess, this seems to be the Southern Dusk Empire. Feng De reminded her kindly. Why do these princesses like to call others lowly commoners? Are they the only ones with noble backgrounds? How ignorant! Sit down. Don't make a fool of yourself, the elder from the Rising Dragon Academy roared with displeasure on his face. Shimenya didn't dare to say anything else and sat down obediently. "Elder Chiu, I'm so sorry. She is young and insensible. Please don't take what she says to heart," Elder Wang, it's fine. But you'd better keep an eye on her. That lass won't leave any face for anyone if provoked, Elder Chiu said softly to Elder Wang. Elder Wang looked at Leng Ruoxue, who was pretending to be sleeping, and then at the students of the Heavenly Phoenix Academy. Then he looked at the students of his academy. Alas! Why is the difference so big? Their Rising Dragon Academy was the #1 academy on the Ling Feng continent, but no matter how he looked at it now, he felt that the only good students in their academy seemed to be Hu Qing and Yi Xiao. He really didn't know what kind of dog's hit luck the Heavenly Phoenix Academy had. He was so envious. Elder Wang's envious gaze almost made Elder Chiu's tail curl up, if he had one. His Majesty the Emperor has arrived. Her Majesty the Empress has arrived. The Emperor and Empress walked in together, surrounded by members of the imperial family. Everyone stood up to greet the Emperor and Empress except for a few top families and the major academies who just nodded. There's no need to be so polite. You are all my guests today. Please have a seat, the Emperor said amiably and cordially before sitting on his dragon throne. The Empress sat on the shorter phoenix throne beside the Emperor's dragon throne. Imperial Father, there are so many guests today, but some are very rude. Suddenly, a discordant female voice sounded in the hall. Shut up. What's the occasion today? Is it your turn to speak? The Empress rebuked in displeasure. Huang Fuyu is too unbridled. Just because the Emperor dotes on her, she doesn't even care about me, the first wife. And she didn't forget to show off at such a prestigious banquet. How rude. Imperial Mother, Yuer is telling the truth. What kind of crime should she be guilty of for looking down on the imperial family like this? Huang Fuyu still spoke as she pleased, not taking the Empress' words seriously at all. In any case, her imperial father loved her, and the Empress wouldn't dare to do anything to her, so she was very confident. Yuer, which guest are you talking about? There shouldn't be such an impolite guest. Noble Consort Su, who was sitting on the other side of the Emperor, spoke before the Emperor could. YTS her. Huang Fuye's slender jade-like hand pointed at Leng Ruoxue, who was pretending to be asleep with her eyes closed. A scheming smile appeared on her beautiful face. She was just about to look for her when she came knocking on her door. Everyone's gazes curiously looked in the direction she was pointing, and their expressions instantly varied. Some were stunned, some were jealous, some were sympathetic, and some were gloating. But everyone was well aware of the reason for Huang Fuye's accusation. It was either that this beautiful young lady had offended this snobbish princess, or Huang Fuyu was envious of her beauty and deliberately found trouble with her. Such a thing was nothing in aristocratic families. The Empress also turned her gaze. This girl is so beautiful. She's still so breathtakingly beautiful with her eyes closed. She turned to look at Shui Xinran. Alas, there's no comparison. She is like a phoenix in the sky, while the #1 beauty on the Ling Feng continent is like a chicken in the ground. Huang Fuyu is really becoming more and more promising. She's even provoking people from the Heavenly Phoenix Academy. The 3 academies might not be as powerful as the 5 great families and the imperial families of the 5 countries. But the status of the 3 academies was very transcendent on the Ling Feng continent. Moreover, the 3 academies had spiritual supremacies, and their status was not inferior to that of the imperial families. So the imperial families of the various countries had always been polite to the 3 academies. Furthermore, the Heavenly Phoenix Academy had strong momentum in this academy competition, and it was very likely that it would take first place. They had to be on friendly terms. But Huang Fuyu, the Empress, turned to look at the Emperor sitting on the throne. Seeing that he had no intention of stopping her, she stopped talking and waited to watch the show. Leng Ruoxue lazily opened her beautiful eyes and looked around the hall, taking in everyone's expressions. Finally, her gaze landed on Huang Fuyu. Turns out it's her. Princess, are you talking about me? Leng Ruoxue smiled charmingly. Her smile was so beautiful that it dumbfounded everyone. Beautiful. Truly beautiful. The strong were respected in this world, but beautiful women were also pleasing to the eye, especially one with strength. Everyone immediately had different thoughts. It's you. How dare you be so impudent as to not pay respects to my imperial father? How dare you? Huang Fuyu roared arrogantly. Am I being too impudent, or are you being too impudent? How can a princess of a country be so rude to a guest? Is this the upbringing of the imperial family of the Southern Dusk Empire? Leng Ruoxu's gaze passed Huang Fuyu and gently swept over the emperor sitting on the throne. The emperor of the Southern Dusk Empire, Huang Fuzhen, felt Leng Ruoxu's gaze and just smiled calmly. As expected of the Leng family, their imposing manner isn't something that others can compare to. He couldn't help thinking. Of course you are the one being imprudent. I'm a princess, and you're just a lowly commoner. How dare you compare yourself to me? Huang Fuyu said proudly, her face full of arrogance and cockiness. So spiritual sovereigns are all lowly commoners in your eyes, princess? I understand now, Leng Ruoxue said softly as beautiful eyes looked at everyone. Among the people present today, other than the imperial family and the important ministers of the Southern Dusk Empire, the weakest was a spiritual monarch. Spiritual sovereigns naturally aren't commoners, but you're not a spiritual sovereign, Huang Fuyu said nonchalantly. In fact, she didn't even care about spiritual sovereigns. What about spiritual sovereigns? They still had to be her servants. There was a spiritual sovereign among her guards. Can a great spiritualist like you tell whether I'm a spiritual sovereign or not? Leng Ruoxue said mockingly. At the same time, she felt a few gazes looking at her inquisitively, as though they wanted to know her true strength. Huang Fuyu flew into a rage out of humiliation. Without thinking, she grabbed the whip wrapped around her waist and lashed it at Leng Ruoxue's face. Chapter 106. Do you dare to accept my challenge? Seeing that the whip was about to hit the stunning Bowtie's face, everyone present couldn't help exclaiming. Although some wanted to be the hero who saved the beauty, considering Huang Fuyu's identity. Before Leng Ruoxue could make a move, a powerful force shattered the whip in Huang Fuyu's hand. And a trace of imperceptible black spiritual power entered Huang Fuyu's body through the hand holding the whip. Everyone was surprised because no one saw who did it. Who was it? Come out here for this princess now. Huang Fuyu roared a little hysterically. How infuriating. That's enough. Huang Fuzhen stopped her. Imperial father. Huang Fuyu cried out with displeasure. Quickly come back and sit down. Otherwise, go back to your chambers, Huang Fuzhen said with a stern face. Consider yourself lucky today. Huang Fuyu glared at Leng Ruoxue and then reluctantly returned to her seat. She really didn't dare to disobey her father. I wonder who is lucky today, Leng Ruoxue said with a smile that was not a smile. She really wanted to kill her just now. This princess would no longer be alive if Huang Fuzhen hadn't suddenly spoken. Thinking of this, she turned her beautiful eyes coldly to Huang Fuzhen. She would remember what happened today. Miss Leng, I'm so sorry. Yue is young and insensible. Please don't take it to heart, Huang Fuzhen said apologetically. I'm just a lowly commoner. How dare I make a fuss with a noble princess? Leng Ruoxue said coldly. How can I not make a fuss about it? How can I let go of someone who wants to kill me? It's good that you didn't take it to heart, Huang Fuzhen said awkwardly. Everyone, welcome to the palace for today's banquet. I hope everyone will have a good time today, Huang Fuzhen said courteously while raising his glass. After he finished speaking, maidservants began to serve the dishes one after another. And in the middle of the hall, there was a carefully arranged musical and dance performance. Miss Leng, how is today's performance? Noble consort Su asked leisurely. Why does she look so similar? This beautiful face really makes me. Leng Ruoxue was busy fighting with the delicacies in front of her. Charm, Darling and Quill were also all let out to fight together. The maidservants serving by the side were constantly bringing food for them, and they were so tired that their legs were about to break. As for those people who wanted to exchange pleasantries and toast with her, they were all ignored. Moreover, it wasn't only her but everyone from the Heavenly Phoenix Academy as well. Everyone was flabbergasted when they saw this scene. Did these people from the Heavenly Phoenix Academy not eat for a few days to be so hungry? On such an occasion, Everyone was mostly socializing and establishing connections. How could they eat and drink without caring about their appearances? Miss Lung, don't you like today's performance? Noble consort Su asked while holding back her anger. Damn it. She's actually ignoring me. No one bothered about her. We're full. Let's go back. Lung Ruoxue said to everyone as she caressed Charms and Darling's round tummies. I'm full. Let's go back to sleep. Yichen said as he yawned. Miss, we didn't come for nothing today. We saved money and had a satisfying meal. Feng De said contentedly. Yeah. If only someone invites us every day, we could save a lot of money. Lin Yuan approved. In the future, I think we should go and eat whenever someone invites us, and we can pack up whatever we can't eat. There are many of us, so it's better to save whenever we can. Isn't that right, Elder Chiu? Even the more upright Feng Moran chimed in and finally directed the topic to Elder Chiu. Yes, that makes sense, Elder Chiu said cooperatively while trembling a little. My little ancestors. Do you hold a grudge against the academy? How can you ruin the academy's reputation like this? Elder Chiu was so depressed that he even wanted to die, but he had no choice but to cooperate. He was alone. Boo. Principal, I've let you down. After hearing what this said, everyone present even felt a little inferior. Amazing. Simply amazing. Lung Ruoxue. Noble consort Su screamed, not caring about her appearance. She was about to explode from anger. Who's shouting? Lung Ruoxue dug her ears and looked at everyone suspiciously. It's me. Noble consort Su roared. This damn girl is obviously doing it on purpose. She was so angry. Who are you? Why are you shouting so loudly? What if you scare people? We're not deaf. Lung Ruoxue's tone was clearly disapproving. Noble consort Su was so infuriated that she couldn't even speak. Lung Ruoxue, how dare you ignore my mother? Huang Fuyu accused her furiously. Your Majesty, the chefs in the Imperial Palace have good culinary skills. We are very satisfied with the food, Lung Ruoxue said politely to Huang Fuzhen, also ignoring Huang Fuyu. Hee, as long as Miss Lung is satisfied, Huang Fuzhen said helplessly. Lung Ruoxue. Huang Fuyu roared angrily. How dare this woman ignore me? Your Majesty, we are satisfied, but there are still many hungry students in our academy. May we pack some and take them away with us? Lung Ruoxue asked earnestly without even looking at Huang Fuyu. Tea take away? Huang Fuzhen was speechless. They really wanted to take away the food. This was the first time he heard that someone wanted to take away food when returning from a banquet in the Imperial Palace. Thank you for your understanding, Your Majesty. Lung Ruoxue pretended to be ignorant. Feng De Linyuan, go pack with this big sister. Lung Ruoxue pointed at the pink-clothed maidservant who had been serving them food just now. Yes, miss, Feng De and Lin Yuan answered. The maidservant in pink looked at them awkwardly and then looked up at the emperor. After receiving the emperor's signal, she led them to the imperial kitchen. Your Majesty, we have finished eating. We will take our leave first, Lung Ruoxue said very politely after seeing Feng De and Lin Yuan return. After eating, you can stay to enjoy the song and dance. Huang Fuzhen was a little speechless. So these people were only here to eat. We are all ordinary people and don't know how to appreciate these things, Lung Ruoxue said casually. Chapter 107. Do you dare to accept my challenge? 5. All the more reason for you to stay. The more you watch, the better you will be able to appreciate it. Noble consort Su forced a smile and tried to convince them to stay. The show hasn't started yet, so how can I let them leave so easily? Swear, let's stay for a while. Lung Qingtian finally spoke. Yes, Grandpa. Lung Ruoxue acted like a well-behaved child. She wanted to see what trick this mother and daughter pair could come up with. It just so happened that she was bored now, so she could watch the monkey show. Having eaten to her fill, Lung Ruoxue continued to use Yichen as a cushion and lean on him, with the 3 small and cute beasts lying in her arms. The 2 humans and 3 beasts looked so harmonious. Yichen adjusted his posture so that Schwerer could lean more comfortably against him. He held a bunch of grapes in his hand and fed them to Shuer one by one. He was elated that Shuer was willing to rely on him so much. His efforts during this period were finally not in vain. What a slut. She's actually leaning in a man's arms in public, Huang Fuyu said with some jealousy. My cousin was right. My dear noble princess, how can this young lady be called a slut by lying on my man? I will only be a slut if I have designs on someone else's man, right? Leng Ruoxue said very contentedly while enjoying the service of the freakishly beautiful man, eating the grapes he fed to her. How did I become used to leaning on him after only a few times? What should I do? I can't let this freak know, or he will become arrogant. That's right. Women who like to have ideas about other people's men are the most despicable. Shui Xinran agreed very much as she looked at Ximinya. She hated that Leng Ruoxue was more beautiful than her, but she hated Ximinya even more. Who are you talking about? Huang Fuyu roared furiously. Why are you so worked up, princess? Could it be? Leng Ruoxue smiled and stopped speaking. Leng Ruoxue, do you dare to accept my challenge? Huang Fuyu said while suppressing her anger. You, a great spiritualist, want to challenge me? Leng Ruoxue looked at Huang Fuyu carefully from head to toe, wanting to see what was wrong with her. Yes, Huang Fuyu said confidently. You will regret it if you accept it. It won't be a battle between spiritualists. I'm not interested, Leng Ruoxue said indifferently after a while. You tricked me. Are you afraid? Huang Fuyu looked at Leng Ruoxue mockingly, her face full of provocation. Who do you think you are? I'm just too lazy to deal with you. Do you really think you're some big shot? Leng Ruoxue said very honestly. Honesty was a virtue. She originally didn't want to deal with such a clown, but the other party didn't agree. Since Miss Leng isn't willing to accept your challenge, why force her? I believe Miss Leng must have her own difficulties, noble consort Su said understandingly. But what she implied was that Leng Ruoxue was too timid and scared to accept the challenge. Princess, why do you want to challenge me? Leng Ruoxue asked indifferently. If she didn't cooperate now that the mother and daughter were provoking her together, wouldn't she be too unaccommodating? I want to compete with you in beast taming, Huang Fuyu said confidently. She was favored for a reason. She was already a master beast trainer. Feng De and the others directly spat out the wine in their mouths. It was really too sensible for this brain-dead girl to compete with their young lady in beast training. Are you sure? What? Are you scared? Huang Fuyu said arrogantly. Beast training was her forte, and even her master praised her for being a rare beast trainer genius. Are you sure you want to compete with someone who isn't a beast trainer? Leng Ruoxue asked for confirmation. Of course. But if you're afraid, you can admit defeat now, Huang Fuyu reminded cockily. She was blinded by her pride and didn't realize that her actions would cause others to despise her. In fact, she only wanted to find a reason to humiliate Leng Ruoxue, so she didn't care if Leng Ruoxue knew how to tame beasts. What a joke! Why should I be afraid if you aren't? Leng Ruoxue was truly speechless. She thought they would have a good idea, but it was actually a beast-taming competition. But why didn't Huang Fuzhen stop such a brainless idea? She couldn't help turning her gaze to the emperor sitting on this throne. But the expression on his face was very calm, and no one could tell what was on his mind. I didn't expect Princess Huang Fuyu to be a beast trainer, someone whispered to the person beside him in the hall. I didn't expect it. The Southern Dusk Empire hit her too well. No wonder the emperor dotes on her so much, another person echoed. But isn't it being too much of a bully for a beast trainer to compete with someone who isn't one? Another person interrupted. It was a very young man who was obviously standing up for Leng Ruoxue. The whispers from the three of them were very soft, but many people present were experts at the spiritual monarch realm and above. Thus, when they heard their whispered discussions, the gazes that many shot at Huang Fuyu carried a trace of disdain. Unfortunately, the person involved didn't notice in the slightest, and she even thought that everyone was looking at her with admiration. Guards, bring them here. As soon as Huang Fuyu finished speaking, several servants carried 2 large cages into the hall. Everyone's gaze was immediately attracted by the spirit beasts in the cages. One of the cages had a golden python with a white horn, and the other had a black fox that was glossy all over. These two spirit beasts were lying lazily in the cages with mocking eyes. Ink Fox. Charm, what's the matter? Do you know it? Lung Ruoxue asked Charm in her head. Master, it is a purple-eyed ink fox, a rare mutated fox among purple-eyed snow foxes. Master, please save it. Charm said to Lung Ruoxue excitedly in his head. He couldn't bear to see his own kind locked in that small cage. Beloved master, your darling begs you to save it. Darling also begged in her head. The fox race couldn't tolerate the existence of ink foxes, but this ink fox had been captured by humans. It was really too pitiful. Chapter 108, Stewing in One's Own Juice 1. Don't worry. I'll think of a way, Lung Ruoxue said comfortingly. How could she bear to disappoint Charm and Darling? What does this mean? Lung Ruoxue looked at Huang Fuyu and pretended to be puzzled. We each tame one. Whoever can successfully tame it in the shortest time wins, Huang Fuyu explained. She had spent a lot of effort to borrow these two spirit beasts from the Beast Trainer Association. How should we split these two spirit beasts? Lung Ruoxue asked. The levels of these two spirit beasts were different. The fox was a level 9 holy beast. As for the one-horned golden python, Lung Ruoxue carefully examined the golden python in the cage. No, this isn't a one-horned golden python. There was a single horn growing in the middle of its golden head. But the horn of a one-horned golden python was pure white, and this horn was a white jade color. This should be a one-horned golden flood dragon that is said to be extinct. One-horned golden flood dragons were the spirit beasts closest to the bloodlines of dragons. Moreover, one-horned golden flood dragons had another special skill, which was to conceal their levels. In that case, this one-horned golden flood dragon. Of course we will be drawing lots. This fox is a holy beast, and that one-horned golden python is a level 9 spirit beast. We will tame whichever beast we draw, Huang Fuyu said in a seemingly very fair manner. Master, this dragon isn't a level 9 spirit beast. Charm reminded Lung Ruoxue with a cunning smile. Very fair. Let's see who's lucky. Lung Ruoxue nodded in agreement. You're the guest. I'll let you draw first. Big Brother Feng, could I trouble you to draw the lot for me? She was too lazy to move. No problem. Big Brother Feng will definitely draw that level 9 spirit beast for you, Feng Moran promised. He walked directly to the box and drew a small piece of paper. Ink Fox. Feng Moran opened the paper and read the words on it in public. Alas. As expected, this Huang Fuyu really doesn't have good intentions. Lung Ruoxue, looks like your luck isn't good enough. Huang Fuyu said complacently. Yes, it's not good enough. Congratulations, Princess, Lung Ruoxue said somewhat flusteredly. Then let's begin the competition now. But the loser has to be punished, Huang Fuyu said with a scheming face. What punishment? The loser has to be the winner's servant. No matter what the winner wants you to do, you have to obey unconditionally, Huang Fuyu said. That's not a problem. But what I want to know is, if the beast taming is successful, who will the spirit beasts belong to? Lung Ruoxue asked lightly. She didn't want to waste her efforts for others. They will belong to whoever successfully tames them. Huang Fuyu was sure that Lung Ruoxue couldn't tame a spirit beast, or else she wouldn't dare to say so. Princess, can you decide this? If you can't, then cancel the competition, Lung Ruoxue provoked. Of course I can decide. Huang Fuyu roared angrily. It's good that you are in charge. I don't want any disputes in the future. I absolutely hate trouble, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. Everyone, please bear witness for Ruoxue. Princess Huang Fuyu said that the spirit beasts will belong to whoever tames them. She then said to everyone in the hall. Lung Ruoxue, what do you mean? You don't believe what this princess says? Huang Fuyu hollered in disbelief. I really don't believe it unless you write it in black and white, Lung Ruoxue said very honestly. Good children should be honest. Okay, this princess will write it for you. Huang Fuyu was a little unsettled. Why is Lung Ruoxue so troublesome? Someone, bring me a brush and paper. After finishing writing, Huang Fuyu handed the note to a maidservant. The maidservant walked to Lung Ruoxue and handed the note to her, but Lung Ruoxue didn't take it. Lung Ruoxue, what do you want now? Nothing. I just want the princess mother to be a witness for us, Lung Ruoxue said innocently. Anyone who dared to plot against me has to be prepared to suffer the consequences. I'm not a kind little rabbit. In that case, I'll be your witness, noble consort Su said confidently. This Lung Ruoxue is obviously stalling for time. I can't allow it. After hearing this, the maidservant hurriedly handed the note to noble consort Su. She then passed it to Lung Ruoxue after the noble consort Su signed her name on it. Lung Ruoxue took the note and read it carefully. Only after confirming that there were no mistakes did she put the note away. There shouldn't be a problem now, right? Huang Fuyu asked while suppressing her anger. No problem. Then can we start now? Huang Fuyu asked through gritted teeth. She really wanted to swallow Lung Ruoxue alive now. Of course. Lung Ruoxue smiled lightly. Then let's begin. Huang Fuyu walked directly to the cage of the one-horned golden python and began to tame it. Lung Ruoxue, why aren't you starting? Noble consort Su couldn't help asking. What does she want? Has she given up on her own accord? At this moment, noble consort Su had countless questions in her mind. Princess Mother, be quiet. You will regret it if the princess turns into a fool because of your disturbance, Lung Ruoxue reminded lightly. You, noble consort Zu's face turned green with anger when she heard what Lung Ruoxue said. But she really didn't dare to say another word. Lass, why aren't you taming the beast yet? Elder Chiu asked curiously. He knew that this girl knew how to tame beasts back at Thousand Cry Mountain. Moreover, the beast she tamed was only a level 5 holy beast, while this one was level 9. Could this lass not be confident? Elder Chiu couldn't help letting his imagination run wild. Good things must wait. What's the rush? Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly, as if the beast taming competition had nothing to do with her. Old man Chiu, don't be like a eunuch. As the saying goes, the emperor is not worried, but his eunuchs are. Lung Qingtian provoked. Are you calling me a eunuch? You old thing, you're asking for a beating. Elder Chiu roared, fuming with rage. Chapter 109. Stewing in one's own juice, 2. Can you beat me? I can't beat you. What? You're too much of a bully. Elder Chiu's eyes welled up with tears, as if he was about to cry. Unfortunately, no one cared. Elder Chiu, there's nothing wrong with being a eunuch. They are civil servants at least, Lung Ruoxue teased. What is a civil servant? Elder Chiu looked at Lung Ruoxue in confusion. Works for an emperor. Oh, I don't want to be a civil servant, Elder Chiu said seriously after thinking about it. Lung Ruoxue couldn't help laughing. Elder Chiu is really too cute. Teasing him for no reason is pretty fun. In the middle of the hall, Huang Fuyu was taming a beast. But Lung Ruoxue sat in her seat like a spectator who had nothing to do with it, and she didn't have the slightest intention to move, causing everyone present to be endlessly puzzled. Does Lung Ruoxue intend to give up directly? Charm, go hook up with that black fox for master, Lung Ruoxue said evilly to Charm, who was lying in her arms. What do you mean by hook up? Charm's fluffy little face was full of black lines. Master, can you not make things sound so suggestive? Lung Ruoxue's voice was not loud, just enough for everyone present to hear clearly. They were just like Charm and had black lines hanging on their heads. Is Lung Ruoxue planning to let her little pet beast go and hook up with the spirit beast? Charm's transformed appearance was really too cute, so no one thought that he was strong. Many people even believed that the small snow-white fox was a pet. Letting a pet hook up with a spirit beast was a big joke in many people's hearts. If spirit beasts were so easy to hook up with, they would also let their spirit beasts hook up with them. A honey trap. Who didn't know how to do it? Charm jumped out of Lung Ruoxue's arms elegantly and walked slowly to the cage with the ink fox inside. They stared at each other for 3 seconds before they began speaking in the fox language that no one could understand. Purple-eyed snow fox, the ink fox in the cage said softly. It noticed this fox just now, but it didn't expect that a noble king of foxes, a purple-eyed snow fox, would acknowledge a human as his master. Ink Fox, how did you get caught by humans? Charm asked curiously. Although purple-eyed snow foxes were acknowledged to be the strongest among the fox race, only they knew that mutated ink foxes with the dark attribute were the most powerful among the fox race. But the fox race felt that black was inauspicious, so they would expel mutated ink foxes and leave them to fend for themselves whenever they appeared. Alas, this was also the sorrow of the ink foxes. Bored, the ink fox in the cage said indifferently. It had lived alone for too long and was very lonely. Its kind refused to accept it, so it would rather be captured by humans. In fact, its goal was very simple. It just wanted to find a partner and some warmth. But it had yet to find a human worthy of being its master, and no human could tame it. My master asked me to hook up with you, Charm said cheekily. Ink foxes were not so easily manipulated, so he had to make the ink fox do it willingly. The ink fox looked at Charm strangely for some time before saying, I'm a male. I'm not interested in the same gender. I'm not interested in the same gender either, Charm said hurriedly with a dark face. Boo-hoo, how embarrassing. What I mean is that you can follow my master, Charm explained. That girl? The ink fox asked calmly. What's so special about her that even the highest-ranking purple-eyed snow fox acknowledged her as his master? Yes, my master is the best master. You will never regret following her, nor will you be alone anymore, Charm said with a touch of sympathy. Mutated ink foxes had not appeared in the fox race for a long time, but he had been very interested in ink foxes since he was young and had once specially studied their mentality. Therefore, he knew that ink foxes were all lonely, but at the same time, ink foxes had the innate pride of purple-eyed snow foxes. The ink fox looked at Lung Ruoxue, then at Charm and fell into deep thought. Will Charm succeed? Yichen asked curiously. The ink fox had been coldly treated since he was young, so it wouldn't be easy to move him. I have confidence in Charm, Lung Ruoxue said. Charm and Darling had communicated about the ink fox in her head just now, so she felt sympathy for the ink fox. To be honest, she wasn't a compassionate person. She might not feel this way if it was a human, but, alas, I just can't stand seeing cute little animals being treated like this. Seeing the ink fox still pondering, Charm didn't bother him. He waited quietly by the side for his decision while watching Huangfu Yu tame the other beast. Daring to scheme against Master, she will be lucky if she merely dies. I agree to acknowledge her as my master, the ink fox said slowly after pondering for a long time. He hoped that he wouldn't regret his decision. His request was simple, he just wanted to feel a trace of warmth. You won't regret it, Charm said firmly. The ink fox could experience the rest for himself. I'll help you open the cage. No need. I'll do it myself, the ink fox said and immediately broke out of the cage. An ordinary cage for holy beasts like this was nothing to him. If it wasn't because he was too lazy to leave, it would have been impossible to trap him. After getting out, the ink fox glanced at the one-horned golden flood dragon and then walked toward Lung Ruoxue with Charm. Most of the people present looked at this unbelievable scene with their mouths agape. The hookup actually succeeded. Can I also get my spirit beast to deploy honey traps in the future as well? Everyone's thoughts became lively at that moment. The ink fox, who had transformed into a little fox, walked to Lung Ruoxue and said, I am willing to acknowledge you as my master. Okay. Lung Ruoxue nodded and happily hugged the cute little black fox in her arms. Why are spirit beasts all so cute in their transformed state? They're simply irresistible. The ink fox, who was in Lung Ruoxue's arms, felt uncomfortable all over and also a little shy. Fortunately, he was black and had fluffy fur to protect himself. Otherwise, others would definitely notice that his face was red. Chapter 110, Stewing in One's Own Juice, 3. Don't be shy. My beloved master is easy to get along with, Darling said understandingly. I'm not shy, the exposed ink fox roared in anger. How could I be shy? I've been an adult for hundreds of years. Lung Ruoxue caressed the black fur of the fox to calm him down. Alas, what an awkward little fox. I'll name you Dazzle, Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. Thank you, master, the ink fox said, even though he hadn't officially acknowledged her as his master yet. You can acknowledge me as your master after we leave this place. Okay. Dazzle nodded. Perhaps I really won't regret this decision. Master, that golden flood dragon. Dazzle opened his mouth, seemingly wanting to say something. What about it? Lung Ruoxue looked at Dazzle in confusion. Although flood dragons had the bloodlines of dragons, they were cold-blooded like snakes, and she had never liked snakes. As the human and beast chatted, abnormalities began to appear in the center of the hall that had been silent all along. Amid everyone's exclamations, Lung Ruoxue raised her head to look at Huang Fuyu. At this moment, Huang Fuyu had an extremely painful expression on her face, and her forehead was covered in sweat as her countenance became paler and paler. This was obviously a sign of backlash. Huang Fuyu's life would be over unless someone could tame this flood dragon. But even if someone were to tame the golden flood dragon now, although Huang Fuyu's life could be saved, she would still become a fool. As for the golden flood dragon in the cage, it was still very calm, as if this had nothing to do with it. This flood dragon is quite interesting, Lung Ruoxue thought while looking at the situation in front of her. When do you intend to make a move? Yichen asked in a low voice. Shuer won't just watch Huang Fuyu lose her life, right? There's no rush. Let's enjoy the show first. Of course she would help, but not now. Guards. Guards. Go to the Beast Trainer Association to look for Master Sui. Disregarding her manners, noble consort Su hurriedly stood up and yelled when she realized that something was amiss. Reporting to noble consort, we have already sent people to invite Master Sui. But he doesn't seem to be in lunar capital recently, a eunuch said cautiously. What? Hurry up and look for him. You must find him, noble consort Su said anxiously. My dear consort, please calm down. I have sent someone to invite him over, Huang Fuzhen comforted. Your Majesty, you must think of a way to save our precious daughter. Noble consort Su said with tears in her eyes. No man could bear to refuse such an appearance. Sister, His Majesty will definitely think of a way. Don't worry too much. The Empress tried to console her, but her gaze turned to Lung Ruoxue. Alas, if anything really happens to Huang Fuyu, noble consort Su will definitely blame her. It must be you. What did you do? You must have harmed my Yuer. Suddenly, noble consort Su pointed at Lung Ruoxue as if she had gone mad. The hatred in her eyes made it seem as though she wanted to skin Lung Ruoxue alive. Am I the one who wanted to compete? Or am I the one who provided this spirit beast? Lung Ruoxue looked at noble consort Su mockingly. Then you must have done something? Noble consort Su insisted. What a joke. Everyone can vouch that this young lady didn't even stand up. How could I have tampered with it? Why don't you show me how to tamper with it? Is this woman crazy? Lung Ruoxue was really speechless. She originally wanted Huang Fuyu to suffer less, but now, I've changed my mind. Your Majesty, quickly get someone to arrest Lung Ruoxue. She must have harmed Yuer, noble consort Shuer requested Huang Fuzhen. Ah, my beloved consort. I know you're worried about Yuer, but you have to calm down. There are so many people watching. Miss Lung really didn't have the chance to do anything, Huang Fuzhen comforted impatiently. If he really arrested Lung Ruoxue, Lung Qingtian would definitely fight him. Your Majesty, beloved consort, why don't you go back to your palace to rest first? Huang Fuzhen signaled the eunuch beside him with his eyes, and the eunuch half supported and half carried noble consort Su away. Miss Lung, I'm so sorry. I hope you can understand a mother's love for her daughter, the emperor said with an apologetic face. I understand, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. Of course not. Lung Ruoxue turned her gaze to the golden flood dragon in the cage. This flood dragon is quite interesting. It's actually playing with Huang Fuyu. Otherwise, she would have probably died a long time ago with that little amount of mental strength she has. Hee, I will accept this flood dragon just because of its devious nature. Your Majesty, Master Wu is here. A guard walked in and reported. Quick, please, Huang Fuzhen hurriedly said with an anxious expression on his face. A middle-aged man in his 50s walked into the hall. Your Majesty. The middle-aged man bowed slightly. Master Wu, there's no need to be so polite. Please save Yuer, Huang Fuzhen quickly said. Master Wu was the vice president of the Beast Trainer Association, so he should have a way. Your Majesty, don't panic. Let me take a look. Master Wu approached and observed carefully. Your Majesty, there's nothing I can do, Master Wu said after looking at it for a while. He was not a fool. There could only be one possibility if even a master beast trainer could not tame this spirit beast. They were all mistaken. He would definitely not take the risk since he couldn't determine the level of the golden python. It wouldn't be worth losing his life for someone unrelated to him. What should we do? Master Wu, is Master Sui back? The Empress asked worriedly. Senior brother went to the illusionary forest and won't be back anytime soon. Master Wu's words completely dashed their hopes. Elder Wang, do you think we can invite the genius beast trainer from your academy to try? Huang Fuzhen probed. Your Majesty, how can others tame something that even Master Wu isn't confident about? Elder Wang declined implicitly. Isn't it enough for your daughter to become a fool? Do you want to turn the genius of our academy into one as well? Huang Fuzhen couldn't force Elder Wang after hearing what he said. Chapter 111. Stewing in one's own juice. 4. Why don't you let my beast try? Leng Ruoxue suddenly said when she saw that it was about time. Okay, Huang Fuzhen said happily. Dazzle, go and hook up with that golden python for Master, Leng Ruoxue ordered indifferently. Master. Dazzle's face was full of black lines, and his eyes were full of hidden bitterness as he looked at his future and scrupulous master. Ooh, I'm interested in that fellow. I don't want to hook up with it. But he had to listen to his master's orders. Dazzle mustered up his courage in front of everyone, walked to the cage enclosing the one-horned golden flood dragon, and looked resentfully at the calm flood dragon. Hey, my future master asked me to hook up with you. It was also similar to Charm's opening statement earlier, and it was said in the beast language. I'm not interested in male foxes, the flood dragon replied. I'm not interested in a male snake either, Dazzle said angrily. What an ungrateful stinky snake. You are the snake. Your whole family are snakes. The one-horned golden flood dragon hated being called a snake the most. How am I like a snake? Do snakes have scales as beautiful as mine? What a tasteless idiot. I am a fox and I don't have a family. Dazzle roared. He was really angry. Charm, what are they talking about? Leng Ruoxue couldn't help asking when she saw the two little beasts seemingly arguing. They're bickering. Charm's face was full of black lines. These two fellows. He would have beaten them up if not for the fact that he didn't want to expose his strength. They really made him worry. All right, I accept hooking up with you, the flood dragon suddenly said after he was done arguing with Dazzle. Then what are you waiting for? Come with me to see Master quickly, Dazzle said in a commanding tone. What should I do with this woman? The flood dragon asked disdainfully as he looked at the woman who had been blinded by her own cleverness. Just turn her into a fool. Don't kill her, Yao said after some thought. He definitely couldn't let a woman who dared to plot against his master off easily. Okay. The flood dragon increased the pressure on her mental strength until he was sure that Huang Fuyu was definitely a fool. After losing the pressure, Huang Fuyu's body collapsed to the ground. The flood dragon broke open his cage like Dazzle had done, and his cold golden eyes glanced indifferently at Master Wu. Then he transformed into a mini snake as thick as a finger and crawled toward Leng Ruoxue behind Dazzle. Nearby, Master Wu felt a chill run down his spine from just being glanced at by those cold golden eyes, but Leng Ruoxue held the golden snake in her hand and fiddled with him. The snake's body was cold, his scales were very soft, and his entire body was golden. He looks pretty good. Oh, I can use him as a bracelet. Miss, these two spirit beasts belong to our Beast Trainer Association. I hope you can return them to their owners. Master Wu summoned up his courage to say as he looked at the golden python hanging around Leng Ruoxue's snow-white wrist as a bracelet and the black fox lying in her arms. He could see that Lung Ruoxue was definitely not easy to deal with, so he could choose not to take back that python, but he had to bring that fox back. That level 9 holy beast was the treasure of their Beast Trainer Association. You're saying that they're yours? What evidence do you have? Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. Whatever was in her hands was hers. There was no way they could go back. Master Wu was speechless. How was he going to prove it? Even if he went back and asked the people of the Beast Trainer Association to be his witnesses, she probably wouldn't admit it. Princess Huangfu, you borrowed these 2 spirit beasts from our Beast Trainer Association. Master Wu continued, unwilling to give up. Oh, ask the princess to testify then. The princess said that whoever tamed these 2 spirit beasts would be their owner. She had the power to make the decision, and everyone here can testify to it. Lung Ruoxue said indifferently with an expression that screamed, don't try to lie to me. Is this stinky girl planning to keep these spirit beasts of our association? Ask the princess to testify? The princess has already fainted. Even if she wakes up now, she's probably a fool. What's there to testify? Master Wu was so angry. Miss, it won't you any good to offend our Beast Trainer Association, Master Wu warned. Master Wu, are you threatening me? This young lady only recognizes beasts and not humans. These 2 beasts are mine now, and no one can snatch them away. Lung Ruoxue used the word snatch to imply that they shouldn't bully others with their power. That's right. The condition was agreed upon before the competition. But you want them back now that our young lady won the competition. What kind of person is this? How can people from the Beast Trainer Association bully others like this? Feng De echoed cleverly. Master Wu, right? Since the princess is the one who borrowed them from you, why don't you ask the princess for them? Why are you pestering my young lady? You're too old. Lin Yuan also wanted to stir up trouble, and he even implied that Master Wu was up to no good. Your Majesty! Master Wu was so angry that he couldn't speak, and he turned to look at Huangfu Zhen. Master Wu, Yue is currently unconscious. Let's talk about it when she wakes up. Huangfu Zhen said perfunctorily. He couldn't clean up this mess. Seeing the emperor's attitude, Master Wu was very unwilling, but there was nothing he could do. He couldn't forcefully snatch them, and even if he tried, he wouldn't be able to snatch them. This incident has dampened everyone's spirits, so let's end the banquet here. Huangfu Zhen said. Shuer, let's go back. Lung Qingtian said. Today's show was almost over. Lung Ruoxue and the others stood up and walked out of the hall. But just as they reached the imperial garden, a maidservant stopped them. Miss Lung, Her Majesty the Empress invites you, the maidservant said respectfully. I'm sorry. I'm not familiar with your Empress, Lung Ruoxue declined lightly. Just as Lung Ruoxue and the others were about to leave, a handsome youth appeared in front of them. Miss Lung, I am Huangfu Lian. Imperial Mother asked me to invite you over. The Empress had told the Crown Prince not to put on airs in front of Lung Ruoxue. Chapter 112, Stewing in One's Own Juice, 5, Shuer, go. Lung Qingtian said. She should at least give her some face since the Crown Prince personally invited her. Okay, I'll listen to Grandpa. Shuer, I'll go with you, Yichen said. He was worried about this Crown Prince. Grandpa, you can go back first. There's no need to wait for us, Lung Ruoxue said to her grandfather with a nod. Then she and Freak followed Huangfu Lian to the Empress Palace, Phoenix Right Hall. At the Phoenix Right Hall. Imperial Mother, Miss Lung is here, Huangfu Lian said to the beautiful middle-aged woman sitting in Phoenix Right Hall. Welcome, Ruoxue. The beautiful middle-aged woman stood up and greeted her. Your Majesty, we don't seem to be so familiar. Lung Ruoxue couldn't help asking. Is this Empress trying to get close to me? Your mother and I were very good friends, the Empress explained with a smile. When she first saw Lung Ruoxue, she only felt that she was very beautiful and resembled an old friend. But she later found out that she really was the daughter of the old friend. I've never heard that my mother had a friend who is an Empress, Lung Ruoxue said lightly, not knowing why the Empress called her here. When she was in the hall just now, the expression on the Empress' face clearly showed that she didn't know her. But now, she was actually trying to worm her way into being close with her. That's normal. Very few people know that your mother and I were friends, the Empress said nonchalantly. Oh, may I know why your Majesty wanted to see Ruoxue? Lung Ruoxue asked bluntly. I just want to remind you to be careful of noble consort Su. She won't let you off, the Empress said with concern on her beautiful face. Thank you for the reminder, your Majesty. Ruoxue will be careful. If there's nothing else, we'll take our leave. Be careful on the road. I'll ask Lianer to send a carriage to see you off. The Empress said enthusiastically. There's no need. We have a spirit beast. Quill, who had been lying in Lung Ruoxue's arms, immediately flew into the air and became larger after hearing his master's words. After Lung Ruoxue and Yichen sat on his back, he flew out of the Imperial Palace. Imperial Mother. Where is His Majesty? Imperial Father went to Huangfu Ye's chambers, Huangfu Lian said. Lianer, let's go take a look too, the Empress said after some thought. Your Majesty, you have to avenge Yue. It's all because of that slut Lung Ruoxue. Woo-woo, the Empress and the Crown Prince heard noble consort Su crying and talking the moment they entered Huangfu Ye's chambers. Beloved consort, everyone saw what happened just now. If we cause trouble for Lung Ruoxue because of this, people will talk and criticize us. So even if we want to take revenge, we have to have a better excuse. Huang Fuzhen coaxed gently, but his eyes were full of impatience. Your Majesty is right. Even if we want to take revenge, we have to think about it carefully. How can we just take revenge like that? The Empress echoed as she walked in. Empress is right, noble consort Su said obediently. But the hatred in her eyes was impossible to ignore. Lung Ruoxue, you are dead meat? Lung Ruoxue and Yichen soon returned to the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. I'm going back to my room. Lung Ruoxue went directly into her room after saying this to Freak. Yichen stood in the corridor and looked at Schwer's closed door gloomily. After returning to her room, Lung Ruoxue entered the Heaven and Earth bracelet. Schwer. Lung Ruhan hurried over when he saw his sister. Big brother, don't worry, Lung Ruoxue comforted. She knew very well what her brother was afraid of. Big brother, they are my new spirit beasts. Lung Ruoxue changed the topic and pointed at the two sluggish little beasts who entered with her. Yes, Big brother saw it. Even though he was in the Heaven and Earth bracelet, he could see what was happening outside. Master, I'm leaving for a while, Charm suddenly said. Then he picked up the fox and the flood dragon, asked Qingju to find a place for them, and did what he had wanted to do in the palace. Big brother, are you going out? Yes. Everyone will be worried if they don't see me return, Lung Ruhan said. Then I'll send you out? After sending her brother out, Lung Ruoxue returned to the Heaven and Earth bracelet. But just as she entered, two crying little beasts jumped into her arms. Moreover, they looked, quite miserable. A lot of the soft and shiny black fur on Dazzle's body had fallen, and a lot of it was stuck together. A few scales had fallen off the body of the golden flood dragon, and there were bloodstains all over his golden body. Master, Charm bullied us. Dazzle was the first to complain. That damn stinky snow fox is actually a divine beast. Boo! I feel inferior. That snow fox clearly cultivated for far less time than I did, but he's already a divine beast. This was too much of a blow to an old fox who had cultivated alone for hundreds of years. Master, you have to uphold justice for the disadvantaged. You can't let the evil forces continue to run rampant, the proud one-horned golden flood dragon said pitifully. A few drops of cold sweat dripped down Lung Ruoxue's forehead. What's going on? I really didn't expect these two little beasts to be such funny fellows. Alas. It seems like my life will be very lively from now on. Charm. Master. Charm obediently jumped into Lung Ruoxue's arms and lay down. His beautiful purple eyes looked triumphantly at the two complaining fellows. Today, he wanted them to know who the boss here was. Stay here for now. Lung Ruoxue said to the fox and flood dragon before leaving the Heaven and Earth bracelet with Charm and Darling in her arms. Master, the next day, when Lung Ruoxue entered the Heaven and Earth bracelet, she found the two little beasts lying listlessly on the ground even though their injuries had long healed. What's wrong with you too? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. Alas. Our master doesn't like us, Dazzle said without even looking up. After he stayed here for a night, his inferiority complex had already changed into an extreme inferiority complex because he discovered that his future master had many extraordinary beasts. Even that bird was a divine beast. Ooh, divine beast. I also want to be one. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.